Yeah, no sound. It's Friday night. What better to be at a short track, right? Well, how about one of the most legendary tracks that NASCAR used to race on, but it's been resurrected on iRacing. And we're here tonight for another round of a special Tim's Corner Motorsport. It's the Laker News ARCA National 100 at the legendary, revived on iRacing, North Wilkesboro Speedway. Good evening, how's it going? I'm Dylan Langille from Riverside International Speedway and Valley Raceway here in Nova Scotia. It's the Atlantic-Canadian Connection in the announcer booth again, joined by my good buddy Mike James from Eastbound Park to have some fun on this very warm Friday night here in Nova Scotia. I don't know about The Rock. Mike, how the heck? Mike? I think your mic may have disconnected. I heard you for just a mere second. But, well, we'll get Mike's his microphone issues all figured out here in just a moment. I want to thank everyone for checking out this event tonight. I want to thank Paul Strickland Jr., Showtime from Vidane TV. He is helping on the back end in the production part here, and they've helped a few times here for these special TCM events. I want to thank Tim Terry as well and the Laker as well for hopping on tonight. The Laker, a publication for the East Hants area, and we really appreciate them sponsoring tonight's race. Back at North Wilkesboro, one of the oldest tracks that NASCAR used to race on, 5/8, 14-degree turns, 3 degrees straight, downhill going down the front, uphill up the back. And we have not seen much real racing here in the past 25-ish years. Last time NASCAR ran here was 1996, although the track was briefly revived for a few years for some ARCA late model racing. Pass was here a few times from 2010 to 2012. And now we have the virtual iRacers on here tonight. We've got representation from all 4 Atlantic provinces and a few state drivers as well. Mike, have you got that mic working yet?
Oh, hell yeah. It's tad windy over here, but I figured out to push the talk.
You sound a little muffled there. Do you have something on top of the microphone? We had it working before we went to air. How's it not working now? Well, do you got another mic? Where's that backup one we were using last time? No, still a little muffled there, buddy. Oh, brother. Well, that's just the way things work here. It's technology. So Mike's going to work on his microphone, and we're going to get to some short track racing. So thanks again for joining us, everyone. Easy for me to say, as we're just getting off work on a warm Friday night here in Nova Scotia. It reached 28 degrees today. We should be at the racetrack, but here we are at the virtual racetrack as we go through the dog days of COVID-19. And I believe around 50 drivers are here tonight to try and get in this race. We usually take 29 drivers to kick things. So now let's go through your starting lineup here for heat race number 1. In that number 1 car, although appearing as number 98 on your screen, Craig McDonald rocking the old Dale Jr. colors when he ran the exhibition race in Japan. There's one of the lone Americans racing tonight, Brett Suggs in the 33 as we go through your starting lineup. He's on the outside. There's Adam Gilliland, a former Coca-Cola eNASCAR champion. So 2 Americans already lined up here. David Cassidy in the 13 on the outside, a familiar face on these special TCM events. John Byron from Cape Breton in the 57 starting 5th. There's Scott Drost in the number 30, rocking the old John Andretti 30 color. Tanton Woolridge, one of my new Facebook friends we just added each other a couple days ago. There he is in the 00. Mark Williams rocking the Jimmy Johnson low scheme in the 42. There's Mark Shearwood in the number 200, or appearing as 200 on the screen. The number may be a bit different. No, he's 200. Derek Lewis in the UPS 02. Cool to see all the different paint schemes here. There's the number 91 of Jason Halverson. And at the back of the field, a fellow Langille rocking the old, looks like Piedmont scheme that Richard Childress and Terry Labonte and Dale Earnhardt and Ricky Ruddall drove back in the day. Appreciate everyone joining tonight. Short track ARCA National racing here in North Wilkesboro. That is Craig McDonald in the number 1. He's appearing 98 on the screen. 10 laps around North Wilkesboro. Green flag is out. And I see Mike's unmuted here. Mike, we got those mic issues all figured out yet? Maybe not quite yet. So Toss
the microphone in the garbage. Woo!
There we go. Yeah. Mikey, we got you back as soon as we get going here on lap number 1. Right? Well, the mic kind of flutters for just a moment, but anyways, we got a spin. That's the 00 spinning in turn number 2. That is Woolridge turned around, but no caution on the track. It tends to be with the one car incident. It usually doesn't bring out a caution here for these TCM events. Is when the cars start to pile up, and you can see Nathan Langille's a little loosened. Oh, he tags the wall. These cars are very different from these super late models we were running a few nights ago, and you can see Nathan is all over the track, has no grip in that number 3. These cars are a little heavier than these super late models, and that is the same horsepower, but wow, look at the hood on the number 3 just flying up. And that's one thing I noticed with these ARCA cars too. The hoods like to fly up, as we've seen with Craig Tully. I'm not sure if our good buddy Paul Strickland's going through the replays. Paul, are you double dutying on the mic a bit?
Yeah, I'll jump up here in the booth. Man, I gotta tell you, it's a long run from the, and by run, I mean slow trot, because I am definitely not in any kind of running shape. It's a long walk from the production trailer up here to the booth, but I'll jump in here, see if we can get Mike James's mic taken care of. But in the meantime, we're gonna take a look at this AWS instant replay, and you see the 3 car got loose coming off of turn number 4, and the 02 did the exact same thing with no contact. And I'm noticing these ARCA National cars here at the new the North Wilkesboro Speedway. Watching this for the very first time, by the way, on Vidane TV. Very excited about that. Man, turn number 4 seems like it's pretty loose. There you see a broken left front tie rod end, looks like, on the 02 car for Derek Lewis. He's going to reset that car over on the pit road and get that thing probably repaired for maybe one of the Conti races later on this evening. But tough break for those guys. Doesn't look like anybody else was involved. Just the 02 and the 3, kind of a lazy spin coming out of turn 4.
Thanks a lot, Paul. Yeah, a lot of damage. And I noticed with these ARCA cars, the damage model seems to be intensified almost compared to the super late models. You saw the damage that was on Nathan Langille's number 3 and the 02 car of Derek Lewis. A lot of damage, and that means they're going to have to try and fight it out in the consolation race. Pretty much the same as last time we were here at North Wilkesboro. Top 4 are moving on from the heat races to the 100 lapper coming up tonight. There will be a few consolation races. It may be 2, it may be 3. There could be 5 heat races. You never really know who's going to be showing up here to these TCM iRacing events. It's not like lining up at Scotia Speed World where you have to be there a few hours before. You can literally just kind of pop in right before the racing gets underway. As the laps wind down, caution laps do count here at North Wilkesboro, even during the heat races as well. And you can see the field is not doubled up yet as they're winding down. Craig McDonald is still the leader, and an e-racing champion, Adam Gilliland, here. So pretty cool to see a Coca-Cola e-NASCAR champion racing with some of Atlantic Canada's finest racers. And we've seen Craig McDonald go to victory lane a few times. And fellow American Brett Suggs in the 33 right behind him. So we've got the Stars and Stripes connection in second. And as we're still kind of pacing around the field, Tim Terry and our actual sponsor tonight, the number, let's call it 100 lapper, to put a number on his duties. Our good buddy Pat Healy from the Laker News is helping out Tim Terry tonight in the race control, along with Brent Roy, I can see. So it's great that they're hopping on here. Want to thank Pat again and the Laker News for sponsoring tonight's races. They cover all events in East Hants, and a lot of events always happening in Nova Scotia for sure. As we're coming around turn number 3, or going up to turn number 3, pardon me. Just getting settled in here. I literally just got off work like an hour ago, so I'm all flustered, trying to get in my Friday mode as we're all settling in here. Maybe you're watching on the patio tonight. It is still about 20 degrees outside here in Nova Scotia. Sun is setting on another week, and now the green flag is out for the number 1 of Craig McDonald, with Gilliland throwing some pressure in that number 4, the Xerox car, and Alan Kowicki, almost Johnny Benson-like scheme, which is pretty cool. Gilliland knows how to get things done here on these races.
The 1 with a big wing. Oh, we got a wreck in the back. The 200 and the 42 both go around, hit that inside wall. See if we can take a look. Both of them still down there in the John Deere country. 200 grabs a gear. He's going to get back up on the track. Looks like the 42 is going to try and do the same. Nope, he's going to call for a tow. And looks like we still got the final lap. Adam Gilliland out front still. 3 wide for second as they head on down into turn number 4. But the old Giller's going to take him on down. Oh, the 1 car gets around. He saves it. Sends the other to 13 and the 30 around. Holy cow. What a finish.
Okay. Craig McDonald goes over the start-finish line flipping over. Come on. Is that how we're going to start things? Okay, so things are jumbled up here. Gilliland wins, Brett Suggs second, John Byron and Jason Halverson, who started at the back of the field, moving on to our 100-lap main event tonight. All right, that's setting the bar for a crazy night. I don't know how we're going to top that here in heat race number 2, Paul. That was some crazy stuff as we get heat race number 2 lined up. Mike, have we figured out what's going on with your microphone? I'm going to take that as a no.
Race control and the Major Mike. Major Mike, you got a copy.
Yeah, sometimes just the text. I've had it happen so many times at the racetrack. You're testing out stuff way before, and then as soon as heat racing starts, that's when things stop working. That's just nature of the beast. Mike, are you there? I think I just heard you for a moment. No. Sorry about that, fans. Mike James from Eastbound Park just trying to get his wires all crossed up. Maybe it's a faulty cable. Or maybe you're running wireless. You should be running wired. That's the way to go.
True story.
Heat race number 2 about to get underway here, race fans. Want to thank you all watching on Vidane TV, and want to thank you, Paul, on Vidane TV for helping us out here. Another fun Friday show. And if you are watching tonight, let us know who you're cheering on and where you're watching from. We've got some heavy hitters up at the front here. Brad Eddy in the number 6, and Magic Mike Alexander in the 75. Winner here at North Wilkesboro last weekend. And there's his brother with a new paint scheme, the old Darrell Waltrip Ricky Rudd scheme, number 15, Matthew Barkhouse. Tuskets Mark Donchermont rocking the green monster colors in the 77. Legends racer Sam Rogers in the number 12. There is Wade Craswell rocking the old Rusty Wallace Miller genuine draft colors. 78, winner of a TCM event, John Fitzpatrick, one of the Petty Raceway races. Former Pro Stock competitor Byron Bartlett from New Brunswick in the 7 car. Going through the rest of the field here, there's Corey Howlett in the 057. Next to him alongside Tony Wright in the number 93, and at the back of the field, rocking a color very similar to Brad Eddy, the 071 of Martin Landry, and rocking the old Terry Lalani colors, the number 5 of Craig Tully, as we're kind of using those old Gen 4 NASCAR ARCA National style cars. In fact, this type of NASCAR would have raced here at North Wilkesboro in the early stages. Green flag is out here at North Wilkesboro. 10 laps around this very unique track. 5/8 mile, 14-degree turns, 3-degree straightaway. But when you're going up the back stretch, you're actually going uphill, and you go down slightly during the front stretch part of this racetrack.
Yeah, Dylan, it's one of those things I really need to try out. iRacing just came out with the resurrected North Wilkesboro Speedway actually this week, earlier this week, I believe it was. Might have even been no, check that, it was last week. Haven't had a chance, looks like we've already got a caution out. Let's see if we can take a look towards the back of the field. Saw somebody down there on the grass. It's going to be the 5 of Craig Tully in that Kellogg's Terry Labonte looking ride. We'll back that up just a little bit here on the AWS Roofing Instant Replay. See exactly what got him out of shape there, and looks like we just had a little bit of calamity there, racing for the 7th position. You see the 93 gets in there just a little bit hot. Oh. Back of the end of the 5 car. Looks like they actually get stuck together, and they're able to break that away free. So it doesn't look like there's too much big damage on the 5 or the 93. So those guys are able to grab a gear and head on down the road. So they'll be able to pull down pit road, get the virtual hammers out, and start banging on some of that sheet metal. See if they can get those squared up for the second half of this second heat race.
Stuck on You, just like the movie. Just like the movie.
That song, too. Stuck on You Like Glue or something along those lines.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, who is it? Oh, Little Big Town. Come on, I'm a country radio guy.
No. It wasn't, it was, I know the lead singer is Jennifer Lennon. Sugarland. Sugarland. That's who it was.
Oh, geez, that's even worse. I don't even know my stuff. I don't need. See, they pay me to talk, not listen to the music.
That's exactly it. They pay me to push buttons, and here I am talking.
Well, we're trying to get Mike's microphone. Microphone Mike it almost seemed as if we were trying to introduce, maybe he was doing his Macho Man voice a little too loud, and it just blew everything up. But hopefully we'll get Mike's microphone issues all figured out here. Paul, here in Nova Scotia today, it reached 28 degrees Celsius, 82 degrees Fahrenheit. It was a lovely spring day. How was the weather down in Connecticut? I know there's a lot of rain coming up from South Carolina as we saw the NASCAR races get some rain.
I got to tell you, in South Central Connecticut, it was absolutely gorgeous today. Right around 80, 85 degrees. I actually gave Tim a shout here before the race. Said, hey, what time are we starting tonight? Because I got a little bit of grilling I've got to do. And we got some baby back ribs waiting for after this race here waiting on us. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, absolutely gorgeous. And man, it's Memorial Day weekend down here in the States. So really good opportunity, really great weather, and they're starting to kind of loosen the reins a little bit on this COVID-19 nonsense, all the restrictions and all that mumbo-jumbo. So really good opportunity to really spend some time with some friends and family, and maybe somebody you haven't seen in a long time, just to kind of hang out, because it's one of those things, man. You really got to appreciate the people that are around you, because you never know what kind of nonsense is going to happen throughout the world.
Yeah, a lot of nonsense, but you know, we're getting good news here in Nova Scotia now. We have a thing called the family bubble where we can hang out with another family. We can go to the parks, we can go golfing, we can go fishing. We're just waiting for the darn racetracks to start opening up. I know a few drivers in New Brunswick are testing their cars at Speedway 660, which is great, and hopefully the Nova Scotia drivers get to do some action as well. In fact, I saw the McMillans racing on the old Onslow Speedway today, which is ironic because a track that's been closed for a number of years, probably the only racetrack in Nova Scotia that's getting any action in the month of May. How sad and ironic is that with COVID going on? We should be at Scotia Speed World tonight, soaking up some weekly racing. Over here on Tim's Corner Motorsports here at North Wilkesboro. Brad Eddy grabs the lead. It's going to be basically a green-white checkered as we're coming around here with Mike Alexander on the top. His younger brother, Matt Barkhouse, on the bottom. 3 laps to go, pardon me. So a 3 laps to go shootout with Brad Eddy, a little bit of distance between the brothers, Alexander and Barkhouse.
Absolutely crossing the line. It's going to be 2 to go there at the line. Check that. Nope, that's 2 to go. Popsicle sticks. 6th car of Brad Eddy is just laying the smackdown on the field so far. And the brothers, Alexander Barkhouse, side by side for that 3rd position, 2nd position there. Coming to the stripe. Is that the stripe? That is the stripe. Brad Eddy takes the win, the heat race number 2 here, and gives the 2nd place position to Mike Alexander and Matthew Barkhouse.
What's going on? The flagman's not working, and then well, they're still racing pretty good here. So there, I think now is the checkered flag. So they were still kind of going at it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to fire that flagman. Usually he's.
What's going on? What's going on with our announcers and the flagman not working?
Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
Well, we're having some fun either way. So Brad Eddy wins that heat race. Also, Barkhouse and Mike Alexander moving on, top 4. Paul, do you have the stats of who finished 4th in that race by chance?
That I do not. iRacing kind of jumped pretty quick on me. I wasn't able to pull the screen back up. But we'll take a quick, well, maybe not. Just seeing that Mike is over in the corner working on his technical issues. Mike, you got a copy, brother? Not quite. We can see it's trying to come through, but it's not very loud.
Hello!
Hey, there we go. We got Mike.
What the hell?
What's going on?
We got our mic back.
Tell the kids to stop yanking on the cord.
Well, I'll sound out of a box. I'm going to talk to the computer instead of this stupid microphone that I just tossed across.
I was telling you that.
Macho man that shit.
Whoa, we're going to get taken down here. Mike, it's good to hear from you. I tried introducing you before as we're now in heat race number 3. There's Josh Langille and Stephen Matthews at the front of the field. Mike Rhino sitting in 3rd. Mike, you got your mic issues figured out. How the heck are you on the rock?
Whew, buddy, she's a tad windy down here, but it's good to be here on Friday night watching a little bit of ARCA racing. So glad to be in the booth with yourself and Paul. That was pretty frustrating, dude. I didn't even get to watch any of the racing as I made a few tosses at that microphone against the wall. But anyways, we're here. That's all that matters. And we're going to have 56 on the front. But,
you missed Craig McDonald flipping over the front line to finish his race.
I kind of got a little bit of a side glance at that when I was throwing the computer.
Well, the green flag has now been thrown out. Josh Langille grabs the lead and Stephen Matthews. You can see Mike Rhino and also Noel Fougere, and we got piling up in turn number 2. Big wreck at the back there. You can see the 129 car, 129 turned around, and that is Carson Obi, my buddy, doing some iRacing tonight, or pardon me, Daniel Vitch turned around. Daniel Vitch turned around in the 129. So, but that's the way things go here with some iRacing. Paul, I know you just went back to production, but you're kind of handling the replays. What happened with the number 129?
Oh, all this jogging around back and forth. I'm dying here. Looks like the 03, the 23 get together, and well, we're gonna back that up one more time because I missed half of it. You can see just in front of the 129 here, the 13 and the 23 13 gets a big wiggle. That Budweiser American flag car sends the 23 up on the wall, gets him spinning, and hits the 129. And looks like the 58, I believe that is, the orange and blue car that gets by, gets a little piece of it, but not too bad. You can see the passenger side of the rear end of that car is all tore up. A little bit of damage there on the front end, but not too bad there. So he should be able to pull down pit road here, Daniel, in the 129 car, and kind of get the virtual hammers out, bang on that just a little bit, see what he can get for the second half of the heat race.
A lot of damage on that number 129. Looking at the comments on Vidane TV, and thanks to all the fans watching on Vidane TV and Tim's Corner Motorsports. Again, without you, we wouldn't be doing this here, and the sponsors, including the Laker News sponsoring tonight's races. Janet Healy mentions, I'm watching from Newfoundland. Mike, I'm cheering on Noah Healy in the 84.
Yeah. I'd say they're having a bit of a tailgate party over there at the Healy Mansion, but
hey, 6 feet. Remember, 6 feet.
Everybody's trying to get back into race mode, but this is going to be a great night here. A lot of sharp-looking paint schemes here tonight.
A lot of different ones. I didn't recognize Noel Fugier. He usually drives a white Super Late model, but tonight he's got a Kyle Busch throwback, the old Kellogg's Car Quest scheme. Very controversial to pick Kyle Busch. I think he's enemy number one in the racing world after taking out Chase Elliott. But you know what? They made up a little bit. They didn't hug because you can't. And Kyle had a wicked race against Chase Briscoe yesterday in that Xfinity race. I mean, that was just Darlington summed up. A last lap battle to the end. Very emotional for Chase Briscoe if you're in the loop. Unfortunately, his wife had a miscarriage earlier this week, so very emotional win for Chase. And Chase is a really good guy. He's very social on social media and Reddit for NASCAR. So good guy getting a big win at Darlington, and that's the real racing. We're back here with the Atlanta Canadians and a few Americans sprinkled in here tonight. And I can see a hood up on one of the cars at the back there, Mike. This is ARCA Racing here in North Wilkesboro. Green flag is that's Michael Neary
with the hood up. So I don't know what he's seeing in the simulator, but that hood, oh, there we go. I don't know what he did not go.
Oh, we got a spinner.
Maybe he'll go now under this caution.
Yeah, we got. Oh my goodness, he's wrecking.
Nope.
Well, we had Daniel Vitch also turn in front of him with another car. I think it was that car right there going past. So a few cars tangled up here. Man, these ARCA National cars like to wreck on North Wilkesboro. Look at all the damage on the 23. Still green flag racing, though, with Josh Langille in the 18. A lot of pressure from Steven Matthews. These are two Scotia Speed World drivers. Steve races a Dodge Neon, and Josh races a Legends car. So it's cool to see these competitors racing. You can see slow car at the top of the track. I think that is Michael Neary. And there's Noel Fugier making a pass on Mike Rhino.
Yeah, 3 laps to go here, and it's going to get tight here as Matthews still applies pressure to Langille, but Mike Rhino trying to come up with Noel Fugier.
I think it's the number 41 and Jason Goss trying to swing in there on the 34 of Rhino. Coming around with 1 lap to go here at North Wilkesboro, heat race number 3. Top 4 advance to the 100 lapper tonight, the Laker News National 100 at North Wilkesboro. And sitting in 4th right now is Mike Rhino. So if Mike can get away from the 4, he's going to be pulling on to the big show tonight. And he has a lot of distance between himself and the 41. Coming around turn 3 and 4, it's a side-by-side finish. Who gets to the line first? We kind of missed it there, focusing on the number 34. It still looks like Josh Langille got out in front by just a hair in front of the 56. Wow, look at that. About 4/100ths of a second in between the 56 and the 18. So Josh Langille wins. Fugier and Mike Rhino are moving on to the big show coming up in just a little bit.
I feel naked without my microphone.
You do?
Yeah, like I'm streaking here.
Hey, we're going. I was gonna pull a quote from old school. We're going streaking.
We're going streaking.
Not here on the Facebook. It's family friendly as we get ready for heat race number 4. The Laker News National 100 here in North Wilkesboro. I want to thank Vidane TV again and Tim's Corner Motorsports and Tim and Pat Healy working in the behind the scenes of race control. Danny Boyd Chisholm in the 87. I know Danny's family is watching tonight, and in fact, it is a Corey Hall stable up for the front row because next to him, his teammate Corey Hall in that number 83. Our good buddy Ricky Arbo in the 122 sitting in 3rd. And there is the Laker Mobile of Rational Richard Drake in the 141 starting 4th. Starting 5th in heat race number 4, Owen Groves, Newfoundlander in the 09. Caden Tufts on his outside Bandolero driver, rocking the Dale Jarrett scheme. Todd Cousins in the 26 at the bottom of the track on his outside 55, Mark Young. Looking back a little further, 9th position, Chuck Morehouse in the 29. He's got a different paint scheme, though. There's Noah Healy. We saw the fans cheering on Noah a little earlier in our Facebook comments. And at the back, Robbie at the back of the field.
Yeah, good old Robbie Cable back in action now. He's one of our hobby stock drivers from Eastbound. Got a good taste from the Eastbound tryout last night. We had a league invite last night. 15 drivers competed. So looking forward to seeing what Robbie Cable has for us here tonight.
Green flag about to come out once they go around turn 3 and 4. Obviously, we're still hanging out on the backstretch here. You can see that opening as we're going past here. Yeah, I don't know that would fly in 2020. This is the North Wilkesboro based off 1987, which is very cool. And the old Chevy and Ford cars are coming to iRacing soon, so you can relive 1987. Green flag is out for the Corey Hall Racing stable in front. Danny Chisholm slides in front of basically team owner here, Corey Hall, driving an old Dale Jr. nationwide scheme, which is pretty cool. And oh, look out, we got a car turned by himself on the backstretch, slamming into the wall. Didn't catch who that was. It was a darker car. And that is the 09 of Owen Groves. Bad luck with the 09 Newfoundland driver getting loose at a turn 2. These cars are very squirrely, Mike, as I've been noticing. They do not have as much downforce, it seems, as the super late models.
Yeah, cars are a little bit loose. The good thing is these cars will be able to reset before the big main event during the heat races. So they do have that opportunity to get the car fixed up before the big main.
That's the thing, too. And there is the actual repair time during the 100 lapper. So when you wreck, it's not going to be good. One thing that does carry over to the main shows is we are under caution now. We'll bring the replay up in just a moment to see what the heck happened. But the DQ points carry over. I believe it's around 20 DQ points for example. If I run into Danny Chisholm, that's 4 points. And if you do that a few times in a row, it adds up. And eventually you get the black flag and you're shown to go on home.
You're out of here.
You're out. Speaking of out of here, let's bring in Paul Strickland. Paul, what happened?
Just pulling up the AWS roofing and stand replay here. We'll give it to you in real time. The 55 following behind the 26 there. Looks like the back end of that 55 car, turn 4, just came right around. And you see he noses down on the inside wall there. Hard hit. A lot of damage on the left side of that car. And you see he loses it again and comes right up in front of that 29 car. T-bones him. A lot of smoke coming out of that machine now. So,
Morehouse.
May very well be done.
Chuck Morehouse just chucked his car down pit road after slamming into Mark Young. Hard hit, but again, it's iRacing. Unless you have the full G-Force simulator, it's not going to be too bad. Hey, do you notice Bob Ross there on one of the cars? I mean, you just want to paint all these.
I think that's Noah Healy, young cat from Newfoundland.
That is the 84. Yeah, just you want to paint a couple friends over here because everyone needs racing world. So I'll draw these happy little fans in the crowd here and.
Hey, who doesn't like PBS?
Man, Bob Ross, I know he's been passed away for about 25 years. All his shows are on YouTube. If you want a relaxing night, after the racing, you need to calm down, look up Bob Ross on YouTube.
Dude, you're a little bit younger, but when we grew up in Newfoundland, we actually watched Detroit TV growing up, and Saturday morning cartoons. That dude was a bit of a scary character to be watching at 7 o'clock in the morning before you watch Smurfs.
Really? Because I feel like he'd get you all settled down. He's so calm.
That afro, man.
Yeah, he was one of a kind, and it's so funny. Like, my youngest brother is 16 years old. He has never watched him before, but for some reason he's obsessed with Bob Ross. I don't know. It just what's old is new again, and what becomes popular back then can become popular in 2020. Who the heck knows? 2020 is just a weird year in general. As now we are almost in June. Hard to believe we're almost halfway through 2020. If honestly, if the year could go on fast forward for a bit, I'd be okay. I'd be okay with that.
Then we'd have to go back to work.
I have stopped working.
I'm on vacation.
Well, I know a lot of people are, and I know a lot of businesses are reopening here, which is a good thing, and hopefully your family's getting through this time. Really appreciate you hopping on Tim's Corner Motorsports again and watching on Vidane TV. A little Friday night show, as mentioned today, would have been the first Friday night show for Scotia Speed World, but again, with COVID-19, hopefully we get to the racetrack sooner than later. Here at the virtual North Wilkesboro Speedway, Danny Chisholm on the inside, his teammate Corey Hall on his outside with Ricky Arbo and Rational Richard Drake in the 141. It's ARCA Racing at North Wilkesboro. Green flag is out with 3 laps to go. It seems like with these heat races, there's a caution right in the middle, which winds things down to a few laps to go.
Oh, they're wrecking in the back. 26 is around. They're gonna continue with the green flag here as the 26 tries to straighten himself out, but it's still gonna be Danny Chisholm up in front with just white silk coming out for him. Corey Hall in the 2 spot now, applying pressure to his teammate, but looking at Ricky Arbo in the 3 spot. Transfer spot here this afternoon is the 4th place, Caden Tufts, the 88.
And just like that, things are over. Danny Chisholm wins heat race number 4. Hall, Arbo, and Tufts are moving on to the Laker News National 100. Rest of the drivers, they're going to have to go consolation racing, which...
oh, look at that.
With the way things are going here, it's probably going to be a wreck fest with drivers getting all they can. Usually with the consolation races, and look at that, it's the CHR burnout. Usually with the consolation races, it tends to be a wreck fest. So here is consolation race number 1. So we are only having 4 heat races. So from my understanding, I believe there's probably only going to be two consolation races. We'll have to talk to Tim Terry and see how many drivers are moving up here. 12 laps, so an extra 2 laps on top. And we'll get confirmation fans shortly to see how many cars are moving on. I would suspect probably 6 or 7. It could be 8, around that ballpark number.
Yeah, well, we've got, 16 qualified so far?
Yeah, about that. So we're taking about 29 cars, 28.
Yeah, there was some discussion about reducing the field, but I don't think we're going to see that tonight. But looking at the front row, Noah Healy was just outside the window of qualifying in that last heat race, finishing 5th. So he's going to have to try to get into the big show here on this main event, on this last chance qualifier.
Gonna have to try there. As you can see the starting lineup at the top on the scoring ticker, thanks to Vidane TV again. I'm gonna message Tim and ask how many cars moving on to the consolation race after this consolation race.
All of them.
Wouldn't that be something?
No.
So we're just pacing around the field, 12 laps here in North Wilkesboro. Langille and Healy on row number 1. With the rest of the field right behind him, I can see the number 100 of Robert Lee 3.
Yeah, and that's Byron Bartlett next to him.
So I just got the confirmation. Top 4 are moving on here from the consolation race. 3 consolation races. Oh yeah, some race flag is out here in North Wilkesboro. So the word from GM Tim Terry, as caution is out before we even really get going here, so we can settle down once again. But top 4 are moving on from these consolation races. So 3 of them, and there is the number 29. Lot of damage. Well, I think a different number on that 29. Paul, what happened? We're kind of winding back here before the fans see it. What brought up the caution as soon as we got going?
Pulling up the AWS Roofing Instant Replay here. Chuck Morehouse on number 29. The old school, looks like a Jeff Gordon paint scheme. Looks like just hard on the brakes there on the start for some reason. Back that up one more time, see what the heck happened. Didn't seem like there was anybody in front of him. But just hard on the brakes. The 67 gets right on the back of him, sends him down into the 20. 20 gets a piece of the wall, and looks like he just kind of pancaked the wall just a little bit, but a lot of heavy damage on that DuPont number 29 car there for Chuck Morehouse. You saw he already reset that car onto pit road, calling the tow truck, waiting for them to pick it up and get the repairs done on that.
Tough break, and I don't know if he saw the number 7 kind of slow up Byron Bartlett for just a moment, and he hammered on the brake, panicking almost, but that's not going to send him to the Laker News National 100 coming up a bit later, so I'm not feeling too good for our good buddy there in that Jeff Gordon scheme of Morehouse. In fact, he creamed the number 55 in the heat race just a couple minutes ago. So the virtual crews are earning their pay tonight, trying to fix up that number 29 car.
Did you just use the word cream? Because Jeff Gordon and Cream together is a ripoff from Wednesday night, as they ripped off the show from Monday.
If you're unfamiliar, Mike and I have quoted the great Macho Man Randy Savage a few times, referencing that the cream always rises to the top. And what?
Well, you said it wrong.
What? The cream rises to the top.
Well, Jeff didn't put his best Macho Man voice on, but he always mentioned in his announcer voice, the cream always rises to the top.
Yeah, he threw that into Wednesday's broadcast, and we both reacted at the same time, and we were in different provinces, not across the room.
I had to laugh too because I dropped that reference here at, and I won't mention the track or the announcer because I don't want to throw him under the bus. But man, you know, we had the points, top two in points in this particular series, running 1 and 2 in the race. And, I came out and said, oh, yeah, the cream always rises to the top. Well, I've never quite heard it said like that, but you're absolutely right. It's like, do you not know who Macho Man is? Come on now.
Oh, man.
Well, Jeff Gordon threw it out on Wednesday night's broadcast.
I believe we just actually crossed over the anniversary of the Macho Man passing away. I think it was 8 years ago, hard to believe.
Sad, sad day.
Insanity.
Madness.
Macho Madness, yeah.
Well, we're already having some Macho Madness tonight with a caution early on, which is pretty much wore down this consolation race to the halfway point. When we get fired up again, it's going to be 7 laps in with only 5 laps to go. Top 4 are moving on to the big show tonight. You can see Byron Bartlett in the number 7. He's in that prestigious last transfer spot. Green flag is out. It's a hot racetrack. It's a fixed setup, pardon me, with all the drivers running the same kind of setup in these ARCA National cars. Langille pulls away from the rest of the field after that. We're going 3 wide in turn number 4 almost. Going in at 4, pardon me, turn 3. And that was David Cassidy going underneath 3 cars in one full swoop. Oh, no, we got car turnaround. It's the 84 of Healy. Turned around the front stretch.
Yeah, not sure what happened there, but there's a few cars spanking the wall. Byron Bartlett earlier on brushing up against the wall, but obviously some big heavy contact for the 84. Still green flag, so that's going to be detrimental to the 84, Noah Healy, as we have 4 laps to go here, and the 84 going from the front row all the way to the back. Just saw Morehouse also spin out too, so definitely not happy, in the words of Bob Ross. Definitely not a good time for that number 84 and also the 29. Good time, though, for Nathan Langille. The number 3, he's got a big lead over David Cassidy, as well as the 00 of Woolridge from Prince Edward Island, Bandolero driver. And we have the number 7 of Byron Bartlett running that iRacing paint scheme. He's in 4th. Little bit of pressure now from the number 20. The 20's got to really close in. The laps are winding down. Not much time for Gallant in that number 20 to catch up. Yeah, Woolridge had a great run there on Monday night and did not make the big show in the Consi due to a wreck. So hopefully we do not see a repeat of Monday night for the sake of Woolridge. I did have a hard time saying his name on Monday. It was a whoa. Woolridge going to make the big show. Hopefully here is White Silk's out. Final lap. The 3-car Langille is going to take it around for some green flag action. I think the 7 just disappeared off the screen. Now the checker comes out there for the number 3. Langille wins, followed up by David Cassidy and Woolridge. But 4th, I'm not sure because we were watching that battle. Gallant got past the number 7 Bartlett. I think Bartlett had a computer lag. He was in that position, and then he disappeared, and the 20 showed up on screen. I'm not sure why they were wrecking after the checkers, but interesting. Why not? You might as well. They're going to get some green flag action in the main event as they qualify now. So let's see what's going to happen here in the last couple of last chance qualifiers. This is going to be consolation race number 2 if you're just joining us. Heats are all done. Heat race number 1, 2, 3, 4. And consolation race number 1 is in the books, and this is consolation race number 2. 3 of them coming up tonight with the top 4 moving on to the Laker News National 100. We're racing ARCA National cars, the old NASCAR Cup and Busch Series cars, if you will, as well. They ran them for about 12 years, from about 95 till 2007. That's when the car of tomorrow came in. It improved the safety, but the racing just kind of went down in 2008. But here we are in 2020. And they're already trying to work on another car. This is consolation race number 2, as mentioned. Mark D'Entremont from Tuscany
get in the 7. He's going to be starting on the pole. His outside pole, 98 on the ticker, number 1 on the screen. You can see the old Dale Jr. Japan scheme, the Polar Bear Coca-Cola scheme, Craig McDonald, who flipped over the start-finish line to finish the race earlier. He probably doesn't want to do that. There's Robbie Cable in the 303, and from Newfoundland, Ryan Walsh in the 5.9.
Yeah, a couple of Newfoundlanders in the mix here, but we got Craig Tully there as well as several others now. It's, I'm having a little bit of a hard time there with the ticker.
Is it a bit small for you? What are we looking at, Mike? Tony right on screen. You can see the 0-2 of Derek Lewis as well. Rational Richard, Craig Tully. So all these cars got to try and get to the 4th position if they want to move on to the Laker News National 100 coming up in just mere minutes, fans. "12 laps around North Wilkesboro. This track has been dormant for a long time. Dale Jr. and the iRace crew got all the weeds off the track. They laser scanned the entire facility. Now it's on iRacing. It's obviously available as we're racing here tonight. So if you're interested checking out a piece of NASCAR history, it's on iRacing. Here to race whenever, wherever, rain, shine, doesn't matter. It's here at North Wilkesboro. Consolation race number 2 about to get underway. And Craig McDonald, pardon me, almost jumped the gun there. Green flag is out. Drag racing to turn number 1. Don Tremont on the inside in that green 77. Craig McDonald in the number 1. Going to get that power in the middle lane and go around and snag first. As we start to kind of settle in, we get 1 lap complete. Oh no, the 3 was sideways into turn 4. I spoke nearly too soon. That is the number 303. Oh, the number 93 of Tony Wright also turned around in turn 4, and that was the 303 of Robbie Cable, who was in a transfer position, but now has fallen out of place after losing his grip at turn number 4, and I've seen that so much. Turn 4 seems to be the danger zone almost for these drivers.
Danger zone! As you see the 93 coming in down in the 02, and you said it yourself, he just kind of locked it up. Didn't even hit any, just kisses that inside pit wall. No damage on the 93, no damage, I don't believe, on the 303. We'll see if we can back his replay up here as well. But man, it's like you said, it seems like these cars just they kind of come around in turn number 4. As you can see, the 303 was actually unrelated, not even around the other car there. And same deal, came off the corner, lost the back end, sent himself right on around, and a little bit bigger hit right there, but not too bad. He still has 6 or 7 laps here where he'll be able to, well, maybe not. Looks like that left front wheel is a little bit catawampus there on the 303 machine, so he may very well be done for the evening.
I think he's missing the right front.
Are we still
there
racing?
It went. We are. We're still under green.
Yeah, I was going to say, I noticed that the laps are kind of ticking down there, but we were going fast, and that's Craig McDonald in the number 1 again, so we're just checking out that big wreck that did not bring out the caution, but a lot of drivers with a lot of damage. You can see that's Craig McDonald, Mark D'Entremont in 2nd, Ryan Walsh in the 519 in 3rd, and the final transfer spot, well, it's being contended right now between a few drivers, Sherwood and Rational Richard Drake, going for that final transfer spot in consolation race number 2. Richard Drake, lightning driver at Scotia Speedway. Don't know a whole lot about the number 200 car, but great to see Sherwood racing here tonight. Sherwood on the outside lane, using that grip, though, seems to be working as he's a little sideways out of turn 2. Drake gets in front by just mere inches. It's a game of inches. Now he clears the number 200, Mike. But now it's almost a crossover move. Oh, Sherwood gets loose at a turn 4. He kind of got on the grass a bit. Gets a little squirrely, but he's able to save it. But he falls back quite a bit from the 141.
Yeah, the 200 almost lost it there, but still maintains. But it's the top 3 right now. McDonald, D'Entremont, and Walsh. Ryan Walsh representing Newfoundland, trying to get into the big show here. And your 4th place, I believe, was Sherwood.
Was, not anymore.
Great.
Now it's Richard Drake. Richard Drake now in that 4th position as we have only a few laps to go. Craig McDonald's led the entire way. D'Entremont 2nd, Ryan Walsh 3rd. They're all spread apart, so it doesn't matter. And also, Richard Drake now in the 141. He's got some distance in front of Sherwood. One more time around North Wilkesboro, consolation race number 2. In the number 1 car, number 1 in their hearts, number 1 on the track, Craig McDonald in the Dale Jr. paint scheme, his very first cup race, exhibition race. He pedals around turn 3 and 4. He got out front right away. Craig McDonald will win at North Wilkesboro. He's going to win consolation race number 2. Don Tremont's going to cross the start-finish line in 2nd. Ryan Walsh in 3rd. And Rational Richard, the Laker car, in fact, the Laker News car, is moving on to the Laker News National 100. That's good. I'm sure Pat Healy would probably be pretty mad if he was sponsoring him and he doesn't get in his own race. All right, Mikey, this is the last consolation race. The last chance to go to the big dance tonight. And we've got Newfoundland's own Jason Goss, 41, starting on the pole.
Yeah, the fireman's on the pole here now. He had a great race last night, so be interesting to see what Goss has for him. I know his spotters are all over in, probably over in northern Alberta in Fort Mac, so a lot of support for the Goss team. And I believe that's Marcus Landry on the outside.
Scott Dross has a lot of damage on his rear end. He got rammed by another car. We just saw it momentarily. So that's the racing here in North Wilkesboro. Even before we get going, look at all that damage already on the number 30, the Cheerios Charger. Yeah, ouch. That's probably going to hurt the performance of that number 30. That spoiler ain't supposed to look like that. So your starting lineup, Jason Goss, Landry in the 71, the 071 Abilene scheme. Jason Goss starting first. That is Scott Drost in the number 30. Young on the outside in the 55, the 029 car at the back as well. And there is the 029. If that's Carson Obi. So I knew I recognized that Carson was in this race. So Carson, well, I think maybe should stick to staying in the stands or something. I don't know, man. He just creamed him. There's a few of the other cars, Mark Williams, Sam Rogers, they're on the outside. So the 55, Mike, is in that final transfer spot. 12 laps to try and make the dance. Green flag is out. Last consolation race for the Laker News National 100. Start to settle in their positions just momentarily as we get to see some of the great scenes here in North Wilkesboro. There's the 55 going way up the track. You don't want to do that. You may close on another car as we've got a few cars all scattered all across the track. The 071 and Landry still holding strong in 2nd position, but Dross even throwing some pressure, and it's too wide between the number 12 and Rogers, and Landry track and slams the wall. We're 3 wide coming out of turn 4. Dross gets turned around on the front stretch. It's pandemonium for the last consolation race. Wow, things change pretty quick. Mike, are you just lost for words, or is the microphone having some issues?
Can you hear me?
I'm here. I keep throwing it to you, and you just keep watching the...
I was talking.
Do you have press the talk on?
I don't know. This is a bit of madness here. I think finally this is kind of working out here.
I've been trying to get your opinion on the things. You just don't listen to me.
No, I was talking and I was like, what the hell?
Okay, so the caution has come out here. As we saw, there was all kinds of... So we're watching the overhead view. Paul, what happened here? We can... Grats a bit, and then it just started all hell breaking loose after that.
Pardon me, that's exactly what happened. You see the Valvoline car kind of hits the apron, gets loose, heads up onto the wall, gets a piece of the action there on the 55, and you see the 30, the Cheerios Charger, coming out of turn number 4, loses the back end of that race car, sends himself on around, and we're going to switch over here to the 42 car, because I believe they were involved, the 42 and the 03, I may very well be mistaken. But man, it's that turn 4. There's these cars just don't seem to agree with it. The back end seem to be coming around the cars. I don't know if it's because the setup is just a little bit loose, or if these guys are trying to just goose the throttle just a little bit to try and get all that they can get here on coming out of the corner.
I'm guessing it's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. I mean, they are just like so loose coming out of turn 4 and turn 2 as well. But I'm noticing these cars are as crooked as a question mark occasionally. Goss is still the leader. Mark Young, Sam Rogers, and looking at the scoring ticker at the top of your screen, race fans, trying to see who's in fourth. Mark Williams with Ronald McKay back here. Great to see him racing. Also Cousins in sixth. So those drivers got to really push their limits that they want to try and get to the Laker News National 100. Want to thank Pat Healy and the Laker News again for sponsoring tonight's race. Give them a like on Facebook. Please check out their website, thelaker.ca. Lots of news, whether it's in Nova Scotia or just for the East Hants area. I know a lot of East Hants, what's the word I'm looking for here? East Hants residents watch racing. Of course, Scotia Speedway, which is on the cusp of East Hants. So great to see all the fans supporting racing here, and the newspaper, the Lakers, supporting some of the racing here tonight at North Wilkesboro. Mike just sent us a message saying he thinks his mic's on the kaputs here, so maybe you and I show time, maybe run a bit solo, but green flag is out now for the 41. Goss gets in front of the 55, and it looked like Young was trying to slam the door on a few other cars, including Rogers. There's Williams with McKay throwing a little bit of pressure on the bottom with two wide racing almost. And wow, Rogers throws the 55 in turn 3. Cars are piling up. Caution out again. Rogers, a big aggressive move on the 55.
That was very, very aggressive there. You saw the 12 was locked onto the back bumper of that number 55 of Mark Young. We'll back the replay up, see if we can check out what's going on again on the AWS instant replay. He was on his back bumper for almost a half a lap, as we're going to cue it up, and we're going to slow it down here on the instant replay just a little bit, see if we can make sure we catch all the action. But there you see, we're actually going to switch over to the chopper cam, take a look at it, and you can see, you can see the 41 there for some reason. We'll back that up one more time. And
yeah, he was all over him. I mean, just so much speed coming out of the backstretch and just throwing the 55 at the top of the track.
Well, some technical difficulties here with the instant
What's
replay
going?
machine
Why are the mics, the flagmans, and the replay not working tonight? Is it the heat?
It's the heat. It's a full moon. It's something. I don't know. Something in the air. But here we go. Here's where the madness went down. The 12 car following up. We're just gonna do it in real time, and you can see it gets right on the back bumper, pushes and lifts the back end of that race car as he heads on down to the turn. Just has no control. 55 gets up into the wall, smacks the 42, gives him some big time damage. Doesn't look like there's any damage on the 12 car. So good news for him, but I'm actually showing the 42 is in P2 right now. So he may have actually gotten by scot-free. We'll take one more quick look at it.
He gets creamed.
Okay, yeah, he does get creamed, yeah. So he is still currently scored in the second position, but you can see right now that Lowe's hood is plopping right up, doing the old flipping his flopper there on the 42 machine. Good little sponsor plug there. Saying, hey, it's nice out. Maybe you should go to Lowe's, pick up some flowers and some mulch and get some gardening done and all that good stuff. But, man, we're going to restart with 3 to go. It's going to be a green-white checkered, and, well, he can kind of see out the left window, so that's good.
If your house has been flipped upside down like our sign here, go to Lowe's, get new shingles, get a new housemate.
If your house is upside down, you may very well need a new roof, so you should contact AWS Roofing, and they'll be able to hook you up. They are in North Florida, so I don't know if they're going to charge to go all the way up to Canada, but they'll definitely be able to give you a good quote, I'm sure.
They'll have to self-isolate for 2 weeks, unfortunately. Actually, they probably couldn't even get over the border, to be honest with you. But
there's that.
Border shut down, but the racing is not, and this is unbelievable. 42 Williams is going to try and make the show with this flipping hood flipped up on the windshield, but green flag is out. It's a green-white checker. Ronald McKay, and now the 26 going underneath the hooded up number 42. I'm getting a kick out of this. And there's the 129 of the what's the number 129 card just showing up on the screen. White flag is out. Pardon me, race fans. Just the text a little small, but 129 and Williams. Williams has not given up, but he is washed up all up the track there. One more time around here in North Wilkesboro, and I'm wondering if Mark's going to give him a little bit of a bumper to the 129. Coming around turn 3 and 4, Williams with his hood up ain't going to be able to make it to the 4th. He's not going to make the show. Goss wins the race. McKay, Cousins, and then after that, we'll get a quick little look to see who wins. Daniel Vitch. Vitch gets around Williams. Williams probably going to even see what the heck is happening. So Daniel Vitch moving on to the Laker News National 100 at North Wilkesboro. Yep. That short track racing right there with the hood up and everything.
100%. And at this point, these guys have a final little bit of a couple of moments just to kind of feel out their race cars before we get going feature racing here. So we're going to take a quick moment and just listen in on the Canadian National Anthem.
Okay, folks, we'll get ready for the National Anthem here. If you're able to, would you please rise for singing of O Canada?
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command, quatre bras et porte l'épée, il sait porter la croix.
From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Drivers, start your engines.
Drivers, start your engines indeed. We're back here at North Wilkesboro Speedway for the Laker News ARCA National 100, brought to you by Tim's Corner Motorsports, live here on Vidane TV. And very excited. This is the first time we've actually raced here at North Wilkesboro Speedway here on Vidane TV, and we couldn't be happier that it was Tim's Corner Motorsports that brought us the action. This is Showtime Paul Strickland Jr. up here in the booth and the production trailer. Double duty here tonight. We got Mike James up here having some technical difficulties, trying to get his microphone taken care of, but I'm also up here with my good buddy Dylan Langille, and man, we've seen some great racing so far here in the heat races, as well as the last chance qualifying Conti races. Got about 20 seconds wrapped up to wrap up here in the final practice. We got 100 laps here, and man, it's going to be a great show.
I'm back, Paul. Sorry. I had to help my girlfriend lift something quickly during the anthem. I stood for the anthem, but as soon as it ended, she helped me lift this. I'm like, but the race! I gotta get back for the race. So I did my lifting. I helped out the lady. I'm ready to race here for the Laker News ARCA National 100 at North Wilkesboro. See, normally at the racetrack, I don't got to lift a whole lot of stuff, but here in iRacing, different story.
A little bit different for me. I work on a street stock team, and man, they always put me to work. I'm usually they call me tire rack sometimes because that's pretty much my job. I go from team to team looking for spare tires that the teams just kind of go out and run a couple laps on and junk after the fact.
Hey, you know what? We all get to multitask occasionally. Thanks again for watching. As Paul mentioned, I'm Dylan Langille, Riverside Speedway and Valley Raceway, Indianapolis Valley. At Valley Raceway, we were supposed to be there this upcoming Sunday, but COVID-19 has different plans. But thank you all for joining us again here for some short track racing. And we can't thank the Laker News again for sponsoring tonight's race. The ARCA cars, we've got some NASCAR E-Racing champions here, including Adam Gilliland in the number 4 very fast car. We've got champions of all sorts here as well in the Atlantic, Canada, Maritimes, if you will. And we'll throw in the Newfoundlanders as well. I know a lot of Newfoundland drivers are racing tonight, and unfortunately, mic issues kind of snafuing for Mike on the mic, Mike James from Eastbound Park, but he's watching the show tonight, so I want to thank him for hopping on for some of the heat racing, the consolations, and he's going to be joining you tomorrow with Smokin' Joe Chisholm from Racetime Radio to cover the big Phoenix race coming up tomorrow. A lot of drivers getting ready for that. That's also going to be here on Vidane TV as well. So let's go through your starting lineup. There is the champion of the NASCAR E-Racing Series, sponsored by Coca-Cola, Adam Gilliland from the Lone Star State, Texas, in the number 4. On his outside, Brad Eddy in the number 6. He's raced everything you can pretty much race here in Atlantic, Canada. Josh Langille, the number 18, starting 3rd. Starting on his outside, 4th, Danny Chisholm, another Legends racer in that number 87, rocking the Rowdy Burns scheme. North Carolina driver Brett Suggs in the 33. Matthew Barkhouse, I love that Tide ride on his outside. It kind of looks like Ricky Rudd's ride in the 15. Behind him, starting 7th, Stephen Matthews in the 56. Behind him, the number 83 of Corey Hall, one of the CHR cars here tonight. Starting 9th will be John Byron from Cape Breton on his outside from New Brunswick. Mr. Ricky Arbo, and you can see there's Mike Alexander starting 10th as well. A few drivers kind of scattered here on the track. Noel Fougier in the 36. He's going to be starting 11th, and there is Craig McDonald as well. As we're still kind of getting the lineup all lined up here, and you can see the rest of the drivers also on the top of the scoring ticker, and we've got cars almost bumping into each other. Green flag is out here at North Wilkesboro for the Laker News National 100 at North Wilkesboro, and you can see all the drivers trying to get some positions as we are back green flag racing after the heats and consolation races. We've got the overhead view watching a few of the drivers, including Mike Alexander, who's at the back of the field. I don't know if he just missed his starting position, but he's behind Richard Drake, and oh no, we've got Nathan Langille turn around, and all the cars avoid him, including Mike.
Yeah, crazy start there, Dylan. Not entirely sure what happened. It seems like there was a couple of cars that just didn't go right off the rip and kind of bogged some of these guys up just a little bit. You saw Mike Alexander is now in the back part of the field, as is Nathan here in the 3 car. But back up front, Adam Gill and the old Giller there in the 4 car. As you may mention, the Coke E-Racing Series champion doing, a big wiggle coming out of turn number 4. And another big wiggle from the 87.
Danny Chisholm wiggles and crashes, and oh, brother, look at this. Oh, my goodness. Cars are flipping everywhere. Caution is out, lap number 4 of 100. We saw the leader, Gilliland, get squirrely out of turn 4. That turn 4, man, is the danger zone, and also Danny Chisholm. These cars are very, very free, as it is a fixed setup, but it seems to be certainly on the looser side, and we're just getting the replay queued up for you, race fans. From what I can tell, Danny was putting some pressure on Josh Langille, but after that, all hell broke loose.
Absolutely. Somebody yell Lana's name a couple of times because you're in the danger zone. You can see the 87 dips on down low of the 18. 15:33 behind the 2 of them, and we'll see if they make contact. Oh, I don't know. I don't think there was any contact there.
I don't think so, but he overcorrected.
He definitely overcorrected for sure, and you can see he gets into the 33, the 83. 36 gets involved because the 33. Oh, big hit for the 34. Big hit for the 91. Oh, my goodness. The the 57 car.
I thought Ricky Arbo in the 22 and Noel got past, but as soon as they got past all the cars spinning, I think maybe Noel clipped the inside wall, and then a lot of good race cars already got a lot of damage here, and it's not like the NASCAR e-racing for the Cup drivers where you have some resets, you snap the finger, and bam, you're fixed up. This will take some time on pit road to fix this damage, and that's going to shake things up, as we had a lot of the top contenders who I would have figured would have been close to the front, including Corey Hall and Danny Chisholm. A lot of damage on their rides. Hopefully it's just cosmetic, because, there were some hard hits. There was a lot of cars facing the wrong way and a lot of cars upside down.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that a lot of leagues will do, and Tim Terry here at Tim's Corner Motorsports does it as well. A lot of times if you give these drivers 1 or 2 resets, they know that they've got it, so they kind of race a little bit over the top sometimes. If they know that they cannot do one of those quick repairs or a fast reset or anything like that on pit road, usually they'll think twice before they make some kind of crazy out-of-the-box move, but sometimes it just happens in short track racing. A lot of these guys, there's nobody in this field that has a lot of practice at North Wilkesboro Speedway, as it's only been in the iRacing simulation for about a week at this point. Maybe a little bit more for some of the drivers that got early access to it for the eNASCAR race there on Fox. But it's one of those things where these guys are going to have to put some practice in, and we've seen it all afternoon long, all evening long. Everybody's getting loose off of turn number 4. Even the number 4 here, the old Giller, Adam Gilliland. He's been doing the online racing deal for a long time. I've known that name for a very, very long time, many, many years. One of the best in the iRacing and the sim racing community. Even he got a little bit squirrely there, but the green flag is out. The pace truck dips on down. Pace Mustang, you can see 2 lined up, single file here for 1 and 2, 2 by 2 all the way through. Behind them, Matthew Barkhouse right now on the inside of Josh Langille for the 3rd position.
Just a lot of pandemonium, and in fact a few of the cars that were involved there are still on the track, including Ricky Arbo and Corey Hall on that number 80, the Navy scheme as he tries to go around the number 18 of Josh Langille. Love all the old throwback schemes here. We're seeing the Tide Ride. We've seen the Piedmont scheme with Nathan Langille. We're watching that the Navy car 83 going around, or trying to go around the number 18. Some pressure now from Brett Suggs, one of the Americans racing tonight, an American up in front. He's from Texas. That's Adam Gilliland. And North Carolina's own Brett Suggs, as we're under another caution here on lap 11 of 100. A shorter race here for the NASCAR ARCA style cars. And oh, brother, we got a demo derby in turn number 2.
100%.
That's Ryan Walsh. Ryan Walsh in the 519. And Mike Rhino as well in that 34. A lot of damage as we'll get the replay lined up here. Yeah, a champion of the NASCAR, the eNASCAR, Coca-Cola iRacing Series, which broadcasts, I think, usually Tuesdays is when
every
they
other
race.
Tuesday. Every other Tuesday.
Every other Tuesday. Very cool. So you can see one of the competitors from that at the front of the field here. So lot of damage on a lot of the cars here.
Pulling up the AWS instant replay here, the 519. You can see the 05, the 03, and the 91 get into each other. There it is. 26 sends the double odd around. 75, Mike Alexander gets involved. 20 gets involved. 13 gets a little piece of it. 3 gets a little piece of it. So a lot of damage handed out here. You can see the 00 grabs the gear, gets on his way. 22, a little bit of damage there. 57 looks like he's got some damage from something a little bit earlier. 519 backs up in front of the 34, who's already got some damage. So good thing he didn't hit him there, because that would have been rough. But a lot of tore up race cars here so far, Dylan.
Yeah, that's the name of the game, I find, with iRacing. It's very rare where a car is going to go home with not a lot of damage. Paul Strickland, Dylan Langille in the booth. Unfortunately, speaking of going home, our good buddy Mike James as well. He's at home, but probably just watching now on Facebook on Vidane TV and Tim's Corner Motor. Mike issues, but he's joining you tomorrow along with Smoke and Joe Chisholm. Paul, can you give the fans a little details of what's coming up tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow we've got another great Tim's Corner Motorsports event here, and we're always thrilled to work with Tim Terry and Tim's Corner Motorsports. We always puts on a fantastic show here, especially on on Vidane TV. But tomorrow night, check that. I don't actually have tomorrow night's schedule in front of me. That's the month of June. So the month of June is pretty jam-packed.
There's a lot of stuff coming up for June. We'll probably get Tim in here towards the end of the race and after Victory Lane to chat about some of the events coming up. I can't tell you. I'm just going to bring up TCM's Facebook quickly as you.
I did the exact same thing, so I beat you to it. Tomorrow night we're racing the Tranquility Super Late Models at the Phoenix Legacy Track. And what the heck is a Phoenix Legacy Track, you ask? That is Phoenix International Raceway before it was actually repaved. So pretty cool there to be. It's allergies, I swear. But yeah, pretty cool to be running the super late models here at Phoenix International Speedway. Same time slot tomorrow night. It's going to be 8:30 Atlantic, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, right here on Vidane TV, and really looking forward to that.
Yeah, and what you were mentioning, Paul, it's an older Phoenix. It's not like the Phoenix Raceway they have now where turn 1 used to be turn 4, and it's all completely mixed up. So very different. The old Phoenix from the good old days in NASCAR. Green flags back in the air here from a track that was here during the really good old days of NASCAR in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, right up until 1996. It was brought back for a little bit in 2010 up to 2012 for some special events. Wish it could be open again, but hey, we got iRacing here. A vet here on iRacing, Adam Gilliland out in front of that number 4, Brad Eddy. He's been putting up some strong efforts in that number 6. He's currently second, followed up by Matthew Barkhouse in that number 15, the Tide Ride 15. And caution again on the track. Usually when there's a lot of cautions, that means we're probably going to go single file racing to kick things off again.
You're exactly right, and that's one of the things that a lot of these league administrators, easy enough for me to say, use to kind of get everybody on the same page. It's like, you know what, if we can't restart side by side like that, maybe we'll give everybody a little bit of room and restart side by side. Well, we'll see if we can pull up the AWS Roofing instant replay here. I'm not seeing any cars facing the wrong direction or anything like that. So we'll figure, see if we can figure out exactly what went down here to bring out the caution. Ah, there we go. There's a little bit of calamity as we're seeing it. We're going to pull this back here, and we're actually going to look at the cockpit from Mike Alexander's view. And this is actually one of those unique views because we have never really seen Mike Alexander this far back for this long. You can see right now he's running in the 21st position, and as these guys head on down to turn number 1, right there, they're wrecked in turn 1, they're wrecked in the start-finish line. You see that's the 519 is around again. Almost gets him. Almost. Not quite.
Just barely. Magic Mike had to put his magic shoes on to hit the brakes, and he actually has a little bit of damage on the front. So, yeah, very unusual for Mike to be this far back, and he did pretty well in his heat race. I'm wondering if he just maybe missed the call for a moment. He tends to be up front right away, but he's going to have to dodge a lot of cars. And, yeah, Corey Hall, Nathan Langille involved. Almost hits his brother Josh on the bottom of the track, too. And you can see Caden Tufts in the 88, 519 Ryan Walsh. So it seems like once one car wrecks, everyone wrecks with this tight North Wilkesboro 5/8 mile. Not very big. 5/8 mile, pardon me. I got to try and get that one straightened out. 14-degree turns. And it's a very unique track because it's almost like an egg. Both 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are not the exact same dimensions. Just a slight, and you go downhill towards turn 1, but you go uphill towards turn 3. And chatting with some of the drivers last time we were here for the super late models, you notice going uphill and you notice going downhill to turn 1.
Yeah, and I made mention of it earlier. I just picked this track up earlier on today because I knew we were doing the Tim's Corner Motorsports special event. I haven't had the opportunity to make any laps here. I may very well have to do that tomorrow because it's a very cool looking track. You can see there's some amazing detail here, and the way NASCAR did it, or iRacing, check that. They kind of went through and they scanned the track as it was in real life, and you can see the NASCAR Cup Series logo in the style of the old Winston Cup logo all the way around. You can see the Union 400 logos. So they basically scanned the track and sent it back about 25 years and essentially brought us a 1987 version. It's like a modernized 1987 version of the racetrack, which, I mean, to me is pretty darn cool. A lot of technology, a lot of hard work has gone into this. And one of the really exciting things for me is the 1987 series cars, the style cars that they were running in the late 80s, which are my absolute favorite. I used to run them in the NASCAR 2003 racing series all the time, the Aero 88 mod. That style car's got a real soft spot in my heart, so really looking forward to those. I believe they're coming out June 1st. But lights are off on the Mustang. Mustang's taking a hard left turn. He's going to grab a hot dog down there on pit road. Adam Gillen, the old Giller there in the number 4, gets a great restart down into turn number 1. 6-car Brad Eddy gets right there. We're side by side for third with Mark Barkhouse on the inside.
If you notice, we are single file restarting here as the first quarter of this race has been very slow with a lot of cautions. Corey Hall, damage be darned, he's going underneath Matthew Barkhouse in that 83, 1583, tangling for that third position with Josh Langille, the 18, followed up right behind him. And oh, we got Donchermont spinning by himself on the back. But usually, again, with single spins, it tends to not bring out the caution. As wow, you can just see how loose the cars are getting at a turn 4. With the tires also wearing down too, a 100 lapper, I'm figuring that these tires are going to have a tough time holding grip, and you can see Corey is just all over the track. Probably the damage as well in the rear you can notice too. As we're going nearly 3 wide, Langille throws a little bit of a squeeze on the 83, and that doesn't work. Oh no! More cars are piling up on the front stretch, including the 56 and the 18. Oh, and Ryan Walsh, I think, just tagged the 18. Brother, that's ARCA brakes in the ARCA cars.
It is kind of cool to see. Well, it sucks to see everybody wreck, but it's nice to see the ARCA brakes term used on the ARCA cars, as we see that from time to time again here in the iRacing and the sim racing world. And I actually noticed seems like the flagman didn't drink as much coffee as he usually does. Usually he's getting after that yellow flag, but not so much here tonight. We'll have to figure out what's going on with that. But we'll take a look here at the AWS Roofing instant replay here. As you can see, the 15 Tide rides up front, the 18's up high, 83 down low, 56 right there as well. He's kind of running a lane up top. Essentially the mid to high lane. The 83 comes up just a skosh and kind of pancakes the side of the 18, sends him on around. 83 gets away scot-free. 56 gets a lap there from that black and green car. 41 sneaks by. 141 sneaks by. And, man, this is going to be a big hit right here with the 02.
Oh,
nope, it's the Bud car, the 03. That's what it was.
McKay, Ronald McKay, pardon me for all the Ryan Walsh fans. Just a red, white, and blue car coming through, and I guess the American flag shares a few colors with Newfoundland's provincial flag. Newfoundland and Labrador, should I add, but no, the 519's okay for now, but man, that was a hard hit for that number 03 of Ronald McKay, and again, hopefully these drivers are okay. A lot of hard hits tonight. May need a Tylenol after all the shaking and everything. So this is caution number 4, I believe, and most of the race has been under caution. There has been long green flag stretches. During the 150-lapper super late model race last weekend, on Monday, in fact, just trying to do the math here, carry the one, when were we racing? Last time we were here in North Wilkesboro. See, the days of the week, I'm just so lost coming off the Victoria Day long weekend. Either way, when we were here last, there was some pit strategy, and around lap 100 is when the drivers tucked into pit road under caution to change tires and fuel up. I'm curious about the ARCA cars, especially with all the cautions we had. Will the drivers need to pit? I don't have a lot of experience announcing these ARCA cars. In fact, it's only my second time. Paul, what's the fuel and tire wear usually on these cars, especially on a short track?
Well, usually the tire wear is not that bad, especially with all the caution laps that we've had here. But you can see, I mean, it's really hard to tell what the surface of North Wilkesboro is like. Obviously, it was in rough shape, and the way iRacing does it is they do a laser scan, so it is exactly how the track surface is in real life. So you can definitely bet it's got an abrasive look to it, and these guys definitely, with all the drivers getting loose in turn number 4, coming out of turn 4, I would say tires are definitely going to play a factor, and as many cars as we've seen get out of shape in this first part of the race, I think later on we're going to see a lot more of that. But it may very well call me completely wrong, as the lights are off on the iRacing Mustang pace car as we're going around here, one more parade lap. They may very well get loose to just how loose those cars are on the older tires, and be able to kind of drive through it. As far as the fuel goes, I believe they should be good enough to go through without pitting for fuel, but I may be mistaken on that.
We'll find out. We're going to find out if a driver like
We'll find out together.
We're going to find it together as a family here on TCM Vidane TV. Green flag back out for Mr. Gilliland in that Xerox number 4. Old Pontiac style ARCA car. I don't see that too often. They kind of became a zombie car after 2003. Brad Eddy, I'm wondering if he's trying to conserve all the tires and the fuel and basically just the entire race cars. He hasn't really closed in on the 4, but again, with all the cautions, there hasn't really been an opportunity. And in fact, I think those top 2 cars are the only ones who don't have any damage because they've been up front the entire time.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They're getting that clean air, and they're able to kind of basically just race the racetrack, kind of get used to how they're racing each other, everything like that. Single file all the way through. You see Matthew Barkhouse, not Mark. I called him Mark earlier for some reason. Matthew Barkhouse in the 15 running 3rd right now. Seems like he's closing in on the back bumper of Brad Eddy, but right now we're still side by side looking at the 36, the old Kyle Busch CarQuest looking scheme there, and the 33 of Brett Suggs and Noel Fougier.
Oh, Fougier.
Big wiggle there.
Big wiggle like the Wiggles, like the guys from Australia. That's not the kind of wiggles you want. He was so sideways in front of the 33. Jason Goss also starting to close in. Aerodynamics must be thrown out because you can see the rear of that number 36 is completely crushed in like a Pepsi can. No shape really left whatsoever from originally starting here, but Noel's able to keep some speed in that 36. He's sitting in 4th, but top 3 are pulling away from 4th, 5th, and 6th onward. You can see that battle. Matthew Barkhouse, not a lot of damage on the Tide ride as well, as he's been keeping his nose pretty clean. Tide, fresh, clean, might I add.
I see what you did there.
So he's behind Brad Eddy, and these 3 drivers, really the best of the best that you're going to find, especially in the number 4. I'm not too familiar with Adam Gilliland, to be honest with you, but for what I'm just hearing and from the chatter before the race, he's really good doing the iRacing, especially with the eNASCAR Coca-Cola Series. Brad Eddy's a good driver flat out anyways, and so is Matthew Barkhouse racing in the Lightning division at Scotia Speed World in this beautiful Hell Kitty car, and excited to see what paint scheme will be on that ride coming up here when we get fired up, hopefully again in 2020. Lap 40 is in the books, still a good chunk left. 60 laps to go for the Laker News National 100. Want to thank Laker News once again, representing the East Hants area. I know East Hants had another mini tragedy today with a unfortunate doctor, a retired Elmsdale doctor, crashing in a fatal motorcycle accident. Thoughts, of course, with their family and friends, especially during a tough time battling COVID-19 as well. In that area, a lot of tragedy, along with the Nova Scotia shootings in the middle of April. So a tough time for that area, but Nova Scotia is strong. East Hants is strong, and we want to thank everyone from East Hants and the Laker News watching and supporting tonight's race here in North Wilkesboro. And to kind of connect it again, Paul, we have some tracks kind of like North Wilkesboro here in Nova Scotia, not in the same design, but in the fact that they're unfortunately abandoned. They're not currently race ready. The McMillan family, Dylan, Mark, they were all hanging out today, and I believe their mom, Tina, was hanging out at a racetrack named Onslow Speedway, which hasn't been raced on for, I gotta say, 20 plus years, but the asphalt's still there. It's overgrown on the outside and the inside, but the racetrack is still there. And they were doing some laps in their own car today, which was kind of cool. They shared it on Facebook, and who knows how far iRacing could go. Maybe they can see all these old tracks possibly one day.
Yeah, I think you're definitely going to see that with iRacing, as they did a fantastic job. Kudos to those guys, everybody involved with this. This is pretty cool to be able to take a racetrack that hasn't seen cars on track in 10, 15 years, and to essentially backdate it to the late 80s, and also bring us the cars that were racing in that era is pretty damn cool. And I mean, it just, for somebody like me who kind of became a NASCAR fan in the early 90s as we were kind of getting into it. You know, my NASCAR following, I essentially grew up a Jeff Gordon fan because my Uncle Matt was a Jeff Gordon fan. So it's just one of those deals. And my dad's a Dale Earnhardt fan, so we always had that rivalry going on. Still do to this day. You know, unfortunately, neither one of those guys are on the track anymore. But you know, it's just cool to be able to kind of take a step backwards in time and race and see what things looked like back in the 80s. And here in Connecticut, we don't really have any abandoned racetracks. We do have a drag strip in Colchester. It's way out in the woods, and it's abandoned, it's overgrown, and it's one of those things that shut down because of noise complaints. It's like, well, what the heck? If you didn't want to hear race cars, why did you move next to a racetrack?
I'll never understand that. And with the connection to racing and how we're fans that watched in the 90s, the very first car I ever got a photo with is that Tide Ride. They had a show car at a local supermarket here in Nova Scotia when Ricky Rudd was driving the 10. So I've got a photo when I was 4 years old next to Ricky Rudd's car. So it's just super cool and always brings back memories. Unfortunately, I am only 25 years old, so I don't remember any races at North Wilkesboro live as they closed in '96. I was still watching Barney back then. I got into racing in like '97, '98. I remember Dale Earnhardt winning his first 500, but I don't have a ton of memories before that. But it's so cool to see these old tracks back here. And I remember watching Mark in those Valvoline colors and his beautiful schemes around 1999, 2000. Then he went to Viagra. That was some awkward questions for Dad. Dad, what's Viagra?
Why is he racing so hard right now?
He's got some stiff competition on the track. In fact, Brad's got some stiff competition in front. The Xerox car, I think Xerox is an allergy medication. So speaking of maybe stuff in front of maybe it's pollen or whatever, he's going to have a lot of slower cars coming up in front of him as we're watching. You can see they're almost 3 wide in front. Paul, this is going to be a little detrimental to the leader as he's getting away from the 6, but all these slower cars, I don't think they're going to exactly maybe cooperate nicely with the 4.
Absolutely, and they know the 4's got the experience. Like I said, he's been around sim racing for a very long time, and that kid is fast. The old Giller there on the number 4 Xerox machine there, or Xerox, check that. Man, he's raced just about everything. He's raced everything from Legends cars all the way up to the Cup cars and everything in between, and doing a great job. I believe he's led flag to flag here so far. Take a look at the stats here on the Adam Gill in there, and you can see we're on lap 54, and he's led 53 laps, so 54 laps. Check that. So definitely gonna be something to behold here to see if we can get someone to get around the number 4 car as he's coming up on lap traffic. You can see that Gatorade number 20 car right in front of him. He's trying his best to gain positions in front of him, just trying to stay on that lead lap.
Any relation to the other Gillilans for this driver?
Is he
related to David?
I don't believe
Butch?
so. There might be some kind of distant relationship there. I never really looked into it, to be completely honest. Now I'm curious.
I'm trying to get. Okay, I got his iRacing file here, so I'm familiar with most Anakin 4. Look at that. He's got 2 cars sitting in front of him at the top and at the bottom, and that is not helping him whatsoever. Brad Eddy and Matthew Barkas. I'll read his bio in just a bit. I want to see this little battle as he tries going around the slower cars, the 91 and the 20 at the top of the racetrack as they go a lap down now. Not a lot of the cars going from green flag racing per se. It's more so been the drivers that have just been tearing up their cars. 59 laps here in the books here. About 41 laps to go in North Wilkesboro for the Laker News National 100 driving the ARCA cars. And the slower cars cooperate. They move out of the way, but he's not done yet. More minefields coming up.
Absolutely, and you would think that the 6 was going to be able to kind of close up just a little bit. You see the tide ride there of Matthew Barkhouse right on the back bumper of Brad Eddy in that 6 machine. Doesn't really seem like it affected Alan Gilliland too much with those lap cars, as he was actually able to pull away. You see he's got about a 10-15th car length lead as we're getting ready to turn over lap 61. 6 car wasn't able to really get through that lap traffic as quickly as Adam Gilliland was.
So I'm looking at his iRacing profile. So it doesn't mention anything that he's related to the other Gillilands, but he was the 2013 NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Champion. So we got a World Champion racing here with some of Atlantic Canada's best racers. So I want to kind of correct myself. I think I said he won the NASCAR Coca-Cola Series. Not a champion there, but he certainly knows how to get it done on a NASCAR-sanctioned iRacing World Championship. So he won that back in 2013, which is scary, 7 years ago. Man, I was going to radio school and TV school in 2013. Now look at me. I'm talking on the radio a bunch and doing this quite a bit as well. And John Byron's in front of the number 4 now. A slower, beat up 57, pedaling around. And I'm seeing cars 2 wide, trying to get any position they can. You can see the scoring ticker. Noel Fougier in 5th. You can see David Cassidy, Richard Drake, Ricky Arbo rounding at the top 10. And we're on board now with our leader on lap number 60, kind of keeping that lower line. And I'm guessing practice here at North Wilkesboro. If he's a pro, he's probably got thousands of laps in his pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things about Gilliland. He's always on here. He's always practicing. And you can see just how much of a pace he's setting, how quick of a pace he's setting. As you can see, there's probably 12 cars in front of him within half a lap of going down. And you can see these guys right in front of him, the 3 cars. They're really trying their best to stay in front of each other to try and not go a lap down here, hoping for a quick caution. But we've had about 10-15 laps of green here. Adam Gilliland really putting down a smoking hot pace and really able to close into the back half of this field.
Long green flag stretch compared to what we were doing earlier for the POV view, and you can see getting right up to the rev limit going in turn number 1, so turn number 3. As he's got a few cars in front of him, there's Ryan Walsh, the Newfoundland and Labrador car, pretty beat up, but cooperates with the leader. He pulls to the outside, and then we've got Mike Rhino, also the 029 in front, and they're 2 wide racing. And the thing is, they're racing for positions as well. It's not necessarily, okay, I just got to move out of the way completely. There's that courtesy occasionally, but look at all those cars in front. But I imagine the way we've been seeing things, they have been working together pretty good. And, well, we almost went 3 wide there in front of the leader. That wouldn't be too good now.
Yeah, and Adam's doing a great job trying to just weave through that traffic as quickly as he can. And look who's in behind him. Brad Eddy, as everybody's trying to finally get out of the way of the number 4 car, noticing that they're going to be able to go a lap down. The 6 car's been able to kind of follow right behind the tire tracks of the number 4 of Adam Gill and close up just a little bit. You see there's probably 5-6 car lengths right there. And but Adam Gilliland looks like he's got about a half a lap of, well, maybe a quarter lap. Oh, the 3 car, I believe, gets a little bit squirrely there. Saves it just a bit in front of our second place machine. He goes way up by the wall, gets out of the way. Sorry, I'm up here by the wall. I'm going to catch my breath just a little bit. But looks like the 4 car's going to have a little bit of a break here, a little bit of clean air. Kind of gather his thoughts back up and get on through the rest of the race. We got about 29 laps, 28 laps here at the line.
Nathan Langille was sideways coming out of 4, but it seems like as the tires have heated up, they're certainly gripping the asphalt much better than they were on these short green flag runs where there would be a caution after a couple of laps. So things starting to settle down here. Gilliland still the leader, Brad Eddy and Matthew Barkhouse, although Matthew's caught up in the lap traffic there with Brad Eddy getting around. And again, I'm curious if Brad's just trying to conserve his car. He knows how to get it done. He's mentioned that he likes to drive very conservatively at the beginning and the middle. There's no point trying to really push the envelope right away, especially when you've got a champion in front of you. As he starts to reel in the number 4, I'm wondering if maybe Gilliland was using up some of his stuff to get around the cars, and now Brad Eddy is closing in about 3 car lengths behind the number 4.
You can see he's trying to make the corners just a little bit wider than Gilliland is as Brad Eddy comes around, and you can see he's trying to outbrake him as he's entering the corner. He gains a bunch of time there in the center of the corners, but Gilliland just does a fantastic run as he comes off. So it's very, very, very different driving styles, as one's coming in hot and the other one's trying to take off coming out of the corner exit. So got 3/4 of the race down, a quarter of the race to go, 25 laps to go. We'll see if tires come into factor. We'll see if fuel becomes a factor here, but definitely at the very least is going to be lap traffic, as right now we've only got 13 cars on the lead lap, last one being that 83 machine at Corey Hall.
Something is working for that number 6, Brad Eddy. At least it was for just a moment, as he starts to kind of fade back just a little bit, but seems to be really good in turn 1 and 2. And it looks like the 4 of Gilliland's a little better at a 3 and 4, and that's probably the most important part of the track to try and be very fast at, so you can go right towards the start-finish line. He will be having a slower car in front of him again, as they're going to come to another round of lapped cars and slower cars in front. And the 4 still holding that bottom lane. Brad trying to explore up to the top and see if he can get some grip. A very long green flag stretch here at the Laker News National 100. Tonight we're racing ARCA National cars, and it was a rough start, admittedly, and we saw a couple cars flip over the line to try and finish up their races, but now we've got a long green flag stretch. The top 3 hasn't really moved. Gilliland, Brad Eddy, and Matt Barkhouse in the 15 as we kind of check in on Matt. He's only going into turn number 3 as the leaders are on the front stretch.
Yeah, it's about a half a second between the leader, Adam Gilliland, and Brad Eddy, and then it's about 2.5 seconds back to the third place car, Matthew Barkhouse there in the 15 car, and 4th place Noel Fougier. He's 5.5 seconds back from the leader. There you see that wiggle coming out of turn number 2. So these guys all throughout the race, it seems like everybody's finally gotten used to how loose these cars are. You can say that 5 times fast. And everybody's, just as I say it! Just as I say it, the 3 and the 57, first caution here in a few laps. We'll pull that up there on the instant, the AWS Roofing instant replay, find out exactly what went down, but got a pretty good idea there, Dylan, as we saw it out of the corner of our eyes here live.
Yeah, we were watching that live here, so we'll get it all lined up here. We have 3, the 57 of Byron and Fougier, and I'm wondering if I'm Nathan. I think he was feeling the pressure from Noel. Goes around the 57, but yeah, no, Nathan came down on the 57 there, so I'd probably throw the blame there on the number 3, Langille. But just stuffs it in the wall, and Ryan Walsh, nowhere to go.
Something came off the back of the car, and it looks like it went inside the car, popped back out. What is that, the front bumper? You see the hood comes up on that car? Man, man.
He rocked him. Look at that hood. And I was saying that earlier. How come on the super late models the hoods don't fly up? We've had like 7 already this race.
Well, it's actually one of those things, Dylan, that iRacing just came out with a damage model update for these ARCA cars, and that's why they kind of have received this little resurgence of popularity here. They essentially went through and redid the entire damage model, so it's more of a realistic crash model. So if you hit the nose or anything like that, it kind of damages everything up. You see the hoods fly up, the pieces flying off of it. Taking a look right now, though, the leader is actually Brad Eddy. We'll just have to see what.
I don't think Brad pit. I don't think he went to pit road.
I definitely think you're right, because we're seeing Brad Eddy up front. Ricky Arbo is in second. Richard Drake third. We were looking at the instant replay. The top 4, as a matter of fact. Mark Detremont in the 77, he did not pit as well. But Adam Gilliland looks like he had, see how long his pit stop was, 13.2. So that's probably a 4-tire stop there for the 4 car. And John Fitzpatrick, easy enough for me to say, in the 6th position, number 78. He had an 8.1 second pit stop, so that may very well have been 2 tires. But it looks like everybody on back has taken 4 tires here, and we're looking at 11 cars. Check that, 12 cars on the lead lap as we come down to the restart.
Shaking it up on another TCM special event. Mike always says that there's usually a caution. He's like the Larry Mack of TCM. He's always saying there's going to be a caution with about 15 laps to go. In this case, we get it with 20 laps to go. Things are jumbled up here at North Wilkesboro. I'm curious if they're going to double up the field, as we are still single file. Brad Eddy, the leader. Ricky Arbo, Rational Richard Drake in 3rd. Richard got a little bit of damage in that 141, but he's usually a good driver to be able to keep it clean, and we are going to double up the field here. Brad Eddy's going to be on the inside. Richard Drake right behind him, but right behind Richard Drake is the previous leader, the 4, Adam Gilliland. Mark D'Entremont's going to be starting in the 4th position. So we had the top, well, except for Brad Eddy, every other leader, it seems like, went to pit road, including Matthew Barkhouse. So he's got some fresh tires on as well. When we come around, I think it's going to be about 12 laps to go there, Paul. So it's going to be a 12-lap shootout. Wouldn't be different, right? It wouldn't be some Friday night short track racing with only a handful of laps to go. Brad Eddy's going to take the gamble. I figure he's probably got to be good on fuel. I mean, we've had so many cautions. The tires, though, I'm wondering if the number 4, who's in 5th position, will he just chew through the top 4 and get back to the front?
Quick answer, yes. Seen him do it, seen Adam do that many, many times. The old Giller is definitely very fast, especially when it comes down to crunch time. And you're exactly right, Dylan. It wouldn't be short track racing if we didn't give these guys an opportunity to kind of reset themselves, reset their cars, and reset the psyche and the mindset. As you see, Adam Gilliland already making it 3 wide before the line, heading all the way down. Brad Eddy with a great restart. He is leading the race. Ricky Arbo in the 122. Check that, the 22 on your screen. 2nd, Mark D'Entremont moves up into 3rd as he's side by side with John Fitzpatrick. And you can see, here he comes. Cue up the Jaws theme. Number 4, Adam Gilliland up on the high side. Caution's out. So we're going to take that excitement, put it in the back pocket for right now, and we're going to pull that back out in like 3 or 4 laps.
Man, my heart rate was just about to go up. What brought out the caution?
Well, we're just looking through the field right now, trying to figure out exactly who all went around, and man, I'm not seeing anything out of the ordinary. And a lot of tore up race cars. There you see Mike Alexander, 2nd car, 1 lap down in 13th. So tough night for the 75 ride. That's definitely out of character there. Seeing Corey Hall again, a lap down, P19. It's just looking through. I'm not see the 03's on pit road, the 129 also sitting on pit road. Multiple laps down there. Yeah, I'm not seeing where that wreck might have been.
Well, either way, another late race caution, and the front lineup hasn't changed that much. It looks like that the 4 of Adam Gilliland will stay around the 5th position. Brad Eddy's still the leader. Ricky Arbo, John Fitzpatrick from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, and at the back as well, right behind, I think Matthew Barkhouse is able to move up just a little bit, but not a whole lot. In fact, no, he's well back. Richard Drake as well, trying to take that strategy of staying on the track. And you saw in that restart, the 4 made it 3 wide, going underneath the 141 right away. And some drivers are really good at using that gamble. We've seen Ricky Arbo keep it in front for a mere couple laps at USA International for a Petty International Raceway race. The very first one, he didn't pit. Brett Suggs and Danny Chisholm shoot him up right away, but he still came away with the top 5. And in fact, our good buddy Ricky there actually Twitch streams these races as well, and it has the where he's racing from, and you get to see how he's doing it. And a very passionate racer on the real racetrack and iRacing, which is pretty cool. Got to give a shout out again to our buddy Tim Terry, GM Tim Terry. I like to throw the nickname at him. Also Brent Roy and Pat Healy also helping out tonight and also sponsoring tonight's race, the Laker News National. It's going to be coming down to the final laps here of the National 100. 92 in the books, I believe, when we get fired up. Probably 5 or 6 laps to go. And man, I'm trying to strap into my computer chair here so I don't fall out of my seat, because I think we're in for a wild show to round it out here.
Yeah, most definitely. And man, oh man, the action's getting ready to pick up. We had a nice long green flag run there. had a quick caution, followed by another quick caution. Kind of gave these guys just a moment to come up with a game plan, and that's one of those things. You come up with a game plan in racing, you may as well just ball it up and throw it right out the window, because it's not going to work, because there's so many different factors that can come into play here. You can see right out now the guys are lining up 2 by 2 all the way through the field. Brad Eddy on the inside, Ricky Arbo on the outside, and the top 2 guys, Ricky Arbo pitted earlier on for some damage. Brad Eddy has not been on pit road yet, but you can see Adam Gill in there in the 5th place on the inside in that 4-0X machine. Pace car's off, green flag, not even going to wait for the flag man, heading it down hard on the turn number 1-6. Brad Eddy gets a great restart. Oh, side by side, 78 comes up, hits Ricky Arbo in the 22. That's got to bring out the caution, and it does. Oh, tough break for Ricky Arbo. Had a passionate interview with him a few weeks back as he won one of these TCM special events. Man, that's a tough break. You can see he's stopped on the track right there. We'll pull up the instant replay and find out and show you exactly what happened there, Dylan.
I think maybe the 4 made some contact. I got a little, I think I saw the number 4 by there. So I'm wondering if the no-fault cautions may come into play. But again, we'll bring up the replay here. So maybe, no, I'll take that back. I don't want to throw a cheap shot at Giveland if it's not deservedly so. So here's the replay. So John Fitzpatrick in the red and white 78s on the inside of Ricky Arbo. He dives in, but let's see who comes up. It looks like the 78 came up. I'd probably call it there. And then Ricky gets turned around. 78 gets loose. Adam gets tangled up as well, so probably some front-end damage. So a few of the leaders and a few other cars also getting taken out as well, but they were kind of further back here. So I think this is probably going to set it up for a green-white checkered, if I'm right. And look who's going to be starting, I believe, second, Adam Giveland on the outside. But it's going to be leader discretion, so Brad Eddy is still out in front. So the 4 car cannot jump that restart. Don Tremont's going to be starting in 3rd in that 77 car. And Matthew Barkhouse avoids disaster. He was flirting with it like Molly Hatchet for a bit, but he's back up to 4th, and he's also got fresh tires like the number 4.
Absolutely, and like you made mention, green-white checkered here on tap, and I believe we've got 5 attempts to a green-white checkered, if I'm not mistaken. But man, oh man, it's going to be exciting here. Like you said, Brad Eddy's the leader. He's done a great job on these past couple of restarts, and you can see just as that 4 car passed through the static camera, lots of big-time damage on that right side. You got to figure that's going to affect the handling of that race car, especially if he's going to be restarting the outside line. But you know what? Adam Gill has driven broken race cars before, probably in real life as well, and he's done pretty darn all right with them. So, gonna be exciting. We're close to the finish, but we're not done yet. We got 3 laps to go here at Tim's Corner Motorsports.
Who doesn't love a good old green-white checkered on a Friday night? Beautiful weather here in Nova Scotia. Depending where you are, hopefully you're at the comfort of your own home, staying safe. Maybe you got some bubble family over watching the races tonight. We are going to double up the field again. A good old Friday night green-white checkered here in North Wilkesboro. On the outside will be the very fast Adam. Fresh tires on that number 4. Brad Eddy's got the worn-down tires, and I'm just kind of thinking, man, there's going to have to be big-time domination from those new tires going into turn number 1. And we're going to have the pace lights off here and get ready to fire up. Rounding out the Laker News National 100 at North Wilkesboro. How about this? I never thought we would see short track racing in North Wilkesboro again. It's on iRacing tonight. Brad Eddy in the 6 Valvoline ride. The Xerox number 4 Gillen on his outside. It's going to be a green-white checkered race, fans. Strap in and hang on tight. Green flag is back out here at North Wilkesboro. Brad Eddy does the right thing, and he gets hit. He's turned around by the 4. Don Tremont gets hit. All the leaders wreck in turn number 1. It's pandemonium at North Wilkesboro. All the lead cars wreck. Brad Eddy tried jumping in front of Adam Gilliland. Just those fresh tires chomped on him like jaws. Brother, who's going to have the lead here, because Gilliland also got taken out?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, it doesn't even matter who had the lead because everybody got a piece of that. We're going to slow it down in the instant replay just to see if we can't find somebody that may have snuck by without any kind of damage. That's a little bit too slow. We'll go back onto a third screen. Even that's too slow. We'll try this one. That one's not too bad. So you see the pace car dip right off, and 6 gets a fantastic start there, and the 4 car grabs grabs a gear. The 6 tries to come up to block the 4 car. 4 doesn't lift. And you know what? I wouldn't tell him to lift either because he was blocking right there at the line. 77 goes around, hits the 4. 15 gets around. 15 doesn't hit anything.
You know who's going to get the lead, Matthew Barkhouse and Josh Langille and Rational Richard Drake get around all the rest of that disaster. Sorry to cut you off. I almost kind of jumped out of my seat. Not that I'm cheerleading for certain drivers, but Matthew Barkhouse, he fell all the way back on pit road. But Brad is still listed in first place, so I'm curious if he's going to try and hold his position. And I just rewatched the footage as we're like maybe 20 seconds or something ahead of the. I think I went through reverse puberty, Paul. My voice jumped so high when that wreck happened. Oh, man, we're having some fun. Okay, Brad Eddy went to pit road, a lot of damage. And race fans, if you were betting on the 4 or the 6 to win the race, throw those bets out. They are worthless. Matthew Barkhouse has taken the lead. The Laker car, Richard Drake, 141 is outside. Josh Langille, where did he come from? He's going to be starting third in the 18. And how about the 26 as well? And Noel Fougere. But look at the number 4. He's back in 5th position with another green-white checkered. He's still got fresh tires on that 4. Could he chew through? But you got to remember, too, fans, 15 Matthew Barkhouse also got fresh tires.
Right, and you can see these drivers lined up. Fougere, he's actually 7 laps down, unfortunately. And the other car there was the 26, I believe it was. 26 is laps down. 26 is a lap down. Actually, the first car on the lead lap, that's Todd Cousins in that 26 ride. So he should get the wave around here as the lights in the pace car turn off in a lap or 2.
I keep watching back this. I'm saying Brad Eddy does the right thing.
Hey, that'll happen in short track racing, brother.
I've had my fair share of voice cracks like I'm 13 years old again. I was near voice crack territory. I just went a couple octaves up there. So we're just trying to get the field all settled up. If by chance you're just checking out the Laker News National 100 on Vidane TV or Tim's Corner Motorsports, you just missed the biggest wreck. In fact, Jason Goss has his hood up. He's so scared he just can't bear to look at what's happening on the track. We just had a big pile up with your top 7 really all piling in turn 1. Well, there's the Chevy Bow, so good publicity for Chevrolet. The Like a Rock, the old Bob Seger commercials from the 90s.
Lights are off on the pace card, lining them up double file here. And just taking a look at the Facebook chat, man, Ricky Arbo drove back from 2 laps down just to get taken out like that, and he is not happy about it. So tough break for Ricky Arbo. Had that win here I believe it was last weekend, maybe 2 weeks ago. Actually going to be racing here with Ricky Arbo on Wednesday night here at 10 o'clock on this coming up Wednesday. We'll get you all the details on that on the Vidane.net website as well as the Vidane Facebook page. But pace car is going to make that hard left-hand turn 2x2 all the way through. Tide car gets a good clean restart. Matthew Barkhouse heading on down to turn number 1 with a 10-car lead. 141 and sideways.
Richard Drake gets taken out by number 4. He did. Caution still comes out.
Well, then there's more calamity.
Byron wrecks after getting tangled up with Richard Drake. I was going to say, I'm scared for how the heck has he not been forced to go to pit road with his hood all the way up? Gonna have to take another crack at this green-white checkered race, fans. Adam Gilliland came through there like a cannonball. He shoved the number 141. And I'm curious, will that no-fault caution rule play in? Because that number 4 came in like a rhino, like a bulldozer, just came right through. We'll bring the replay up again. With those fresh tires, he just tried getting around the 141. But you also got the number 18 Langille. So, and look at Mike Alexander. Where the heck did he come from? He avoids disaster. So Gilliland did knock the number 141. I have to figure no-fault cautions. Probably going to send the number 4 to the back of the field.
Very well a possibility, but you're seeing it right now. Mike Alexander is P3 after all the calamity and after all the nonsense throughout the night. We saw him laps down earlier on in the race, way back in the mid-20s, and here he is up here shooting for a podium finish. It looks like he tries to fake down pit road, and he decides to stay back out there on the track, seeing some of these lap cars take the wave around to get around. So that pushes Mike Alexander back to P4, I believe it is. P5, looks like we had a little bit of a scoring mix-up here as these drivers are getting put back to where they should be.
Yeah, and there's the number 4 going back, and Mike Alexander as well. So I'm curious if Mike maybe made some contact, and that's why he's being sent to the back. So, well, we'll get it all straightened out here, race fans, as we're winding down the Laker News now. Another TCM special event, another big event coming up tomorrow, the Legacy Phoenix Raceway. That's going to be a lot of fun. Basically, you're holding down the hammer the entire time around the track. It's going to be fun.
Most definitely be able to catch that live here on Vidane TV. And I'm looking right now, taking a look at the timing and scoring. It appears the 4 car has been sent to the end of the longest line. Now, there's only 9 cars on the lead lap. You can see Mike Alexander is actually back there as well. So it definitely appears to be a penalty on the 4 car of Adam Gill. And so he'll be restarting there in P8. Mike Alexander, P9. And up front's going to be the 15, Matthew Barkhouse. See if he can get a nice, clean restart here in that tide ride. As the lights are still on. Lights are probably going to go off on the pace car as we cross the stripe right now. Giving us one more parade lap and another attempt at a green, white, checkered.
Okay, Jason Goss's hood is still up in that 141. Like, what gives? Like, it must be like transparent from his view or something. I don't know how he's able to look at this. Like, we're seeing the view in NASCAR. That would be a black flag for sure. But hey, you know what? He's staying on the track. If he can make it work, okay, why not? And look at that. Brad Eddy's on his outside, and that number 6 at being taken out on one of the earlier green-white checkered attempts. Third time's the charm. Green flag is out, and Matthew Barkhouse lays back a bit. Green flag out, another green-white checkered at North Wilkesboro. Aerodynamics probably thrown out the window for that 141 as he slides up the track. Josh Langille right behind the number 15 of Matthew Barkhouse. Goss battling with Brad Eddy as we will be coming around turn 3 and 4. White flag is in the air one more time around North Wilkesboro. Oh, we got cars piling up at the back there in turn 4. But when the white flag is out, the caution flag cannot come out. In front, it is Matthew Barkhouse as we're kind of scattering through the field here. Cars all over the track. Josh Langille gives him a tap. They take each other out. Langille drifts around the corner. But
here comes Brad Eddy. Oh, not enough time. Just barely one more lap he'd have had him. Oh, Josh Langille, holy moly, sends it on down.
I'm being careful. I'm curious if a black flag may be thrown for Josh Langille because he threw it in turn number 3. Oh, just socks the number 15.
No hesitation there.
We've seen some black flags thrown out. I wouldn't be betting all my chips on the 18 quite yet. Langille, unofficially, I'm going to throw it out the winner, and he's been thrown out. You can see Brad Eddy now has been winner at the top. Black flag for Josh Langille in the 18, taking out the number 15 after being the leader for a short moment. It's as if we didn't do 2 or 3 green-white checkers.
Absolutely, you can see it right now. Brad Eddy wins, and Josh Langille scored as the last car to lead lap there in 8th position. You see the 8th, he's still going to try and burn him down, but buddy, you didn't win, unfortunately. Brad Eddy coming home with the win. Mike Alexander, Mr. Where Did He Come From? As much as I hate that term, because I hate hearing it on TV. Finishes 2nd after a rough start. Todd Cousins in 3rd. Jason Goss in 4th with that tore-up race car. Hood over the windshield and everything. Matthew Barkhouse, you saw leading there towards the end. He's going to come home with a top 5. Richard Drake is going to be 6th. The old Giller, Adam Gilliland, in 7th in his Tim's Corner Motorsports 2020 debut. Josh Langille, as we saw, got the penalty, finishing 8th. Dave Cassidy 9th, and Jason Gallant is going to wrap out the top 10.
Just looking through 11 through 20th, and what a wild finish. And black flags, checkered flags, all kinds of flags thrown around here. That is going to wrap up the Laker News National 100. We had a black flag thrown out at the same time as the checkered flag. Who should we talk to first, Paul? Should we talk to the race controller or the race winner? I see Tim Terry's in here. Tim, I know a few fans probably can.
I need about 8 bottles of rum. Talk to Brad Eddy first.
Okay, well, so we can't clear it up. The 18 will not get the win, although he crossed the start-finish line first again. 18, Langille not winning. That means Brad Eddy, who is close to passing Josh anyways in the front stretch, winner of the wild and wacky Laker News National 100 at North Wilkesboro. We've got the virtual microphone 6 feet away from him. Brad, can you hear us?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, but I got you.
Oh, man, don't tell me I'm breaking up. I don't want to break up with anybody. But anyways, everything's been just kind of wild and wacky tonight. Brad, you win the race. The green-white checkers just kind of threw everything out the window. You were leading. You got wrecked by the you weaseled your way back to the front. You crossed the start-finish line second. But because the 15 was taken up by the 18, you win. How was the ARCA racing tonight at North Wilkesboro?
It was crazy. It's just a wreck fest, really. You know, I had a new spotter tonight, and it was his first time ever spotting. He wants to spot for me in real life, and he was doing a great job. And he cleared me up to the wall on the 4, and it was a bit of clear with contact. I definitely could have made it work, but the 4 didn't lift, and I don't blame him. So it just caused another wreck myself. But man, it was pretty intense out.
Were you conserving your tires early on? Stretch, you seem to kind of close in on 4-car of Gilliland a little bit.
Yeah, I was earlier on. I thought there was going to be a lot more cautions, and then we had a really long run, and then I started reeling them in, and we just kept catching lap cars at the worst possible time. And you know, I thought he was going to get it, and then the caution came out. But yeah, I was trying to save as much as I could, and I knew Matt Barkos was doing the same thing. So it was just the cautions just kind of it was a weird.
What did you see from your view going towards turn 3 and 4? You were pretty far back from Josh and Matt. Did you see the tire smoke, or did you see the 18 completely run over the number 15?
You know, I was looking in the mirror, but Matt, I don't want to say anything I'm going to regret, but Matt should have won the race. I think that was pretty gruesome. You know, that was didn't look good from my angle. I got to watch the replay again, but man, it was pretty wild looking. Like it's not how I want to win. You know, I wanted to get in the All Star race, of course, but you know, it's not how you want it to happen.
No, we're home for a tight finish at the end, but I mean, you made it interesting after getting knocked around, but you were kind of talking there that you slid up in front of Adam. You'd figure just probably the new tires in that 4 and your older tires probably just caused him to kind of run over you.
Maybe. I knew that I could have, like, that's just a squeeze that I would have pulled, you know, 9 times out of 10, but I think it was a little too close that time. And my spotter said clear, so I just sent it up to the wall, and it just wasn't clear. It probably would have been a lot uglier, actually, if we weren't in this new damage model. It would have wrecked a lot more cars. But, yeah, it was definitely, you know, my bad for sure.
So how did you find the cars at the start? It looked like a lot of cars were very loose coming out of turn 4. Was it just the tires not heating up, or this kind of fixed setup that everyone's running? Was it set to be looser?
I don't really know. I didn't do much practice for this race here, but I think, you know, this track just naturally doesn't have a lot of grip. You kind of skate around out there, and I think this is a radial tire as well, so it's got a really different feel, so you really got to baby it. But yeah, it was pretty loose off, just no bite at all. Like, no bite whatsoever. If you overdrove it going in, you would kill your lap time. It was crazy.
You mentioned it's not the way you want to win, but either way, you get a checker showcase coming up. You're going to race the All-Star race coming up in just a little bit. Any family, friends, sponsors you want to take the time to say hey to right now?
Yeah, sure. I'd just like to thank Pat for sponsoring the deal. I always seem to forget about the guys that are paying for this to happen, and they're really important. And you know, Tim puts us on with the TCM group, so thanks to them. And just shout out to anybody that's watching me tonight. Sorry, I almost let you guys down. And you know, again, not the way I want to win. It should have been Matthews tonight, but just, you know, thankful to be in the All Star race for sure.
Well, when you rewatch this on Tim's Corner Motorsports, when you get bumped by the 4, my voice sounded like I was 12 years old again. I was just like, oh my gosh, they just wrecked. So you'll have some fun watching that.
Yeah, I always rewatch when I wreck for sure.
Hey, Brad, thanks a lot. Congrats getting the win. I know it wasn't in the near future.
Yeah, thanks, Dylan, man. Have a good night.
You too, man. Stay safe. Have a great weekend.
Yeah.
It's Brad Eddy in the number 6 winner. Didn't cross the start-finish line first, but handed the win because Josh Langille just bulldozed the 15 Matt Barkhouse. And, in fact, we have our second-place finisher, Mr. Where did he come from now? Mike Alexander. Mike, can you hear us?
Yeah, I got you.
You had a different race. Normally, you're up in front, but did you not answer the call? Or what happened at the start where you started the back of the field?
No, Keith there, he dared me to go to the back for the race, so I told him I would.
And, no.
Yeah, no, I just went back there. You know what? Honestly, I thought it was the safest spot at first. and just kind of got caught up a little early there, but it still wasn't too bad.
And it was like a case like that second green white checker. Both Paul and I were like, wait, where did Mike come from? He was at the back the entire time. How did you avoid all those wrecks? You had a little bit of damage on the 75, but for the most part, you were pretty clean up until the end.
Yeah, I got in a wreck early, and it's dogged the nose in and fixing the damage. I went a lap down, and we got a long green run when I was the first car lap down and couldn't get the lucky dog and got stuck there. And then at the end with all them yellows, I just started they gave me one back, and next thing I knew, I was back in the lead lap and, battling up front there.
Did you think you may have had a little something? I know there was quite the wreck fest at the end, but did you think maybe on the restart you could pounce and maybe get close to Matt or the other leaders?
I did. I wasn't, I didn't really feel like I should have went to the back for that wreck when I would have restarted third. I think I would have been right there, and I think I might have had something for them, but I don't know. Who knows? But it just sucks for Matt. He always runs good, and it would have been good to see him get one.
Yeah, it's a shame to see. We're just kind of watching the replay of how you kind of ducked around that. It's pretty crazy to see how you kind of avoided all the. You won here back a few days ago in the super late model. How was the racing with the ARCA car tonight?
It wasn't that bad. I was used to the cup car, so I kept missing my shifts because they revved so much higher. So I kept bouncing it off the chip, and everybody's running me over. But it wasn't too bad. You just can't get on the throttle like you can on the cup car.
A lot of the Rev Racing family, I'm sure, is watching, and your own sponsors family you want to say hey to tonight?
Yeah, just guys over Rev Racing, obviously all my family, mom and dad, and Samantha and Grampy, everybody watching. And Arner Kinsman's, Zander Sign Group, Port City Race Cars.
Perfect. All of them lined up. Congrats finishing second. I mean, you certainly earned it. You had to go to the back twice there, and you probably had some working your way through. And we'll see you in the next TCM event.
Thanks, Tom.
That's Magic Mike Alexander. Also, Mr. Where Did He Come From? As Mike Alexander does finish second here. That was some craziness, Paul. At the end, we saw the 18 run over the 15, but 75 gets second. Brad Eddy wins. And yeah, I kind of want to echo what Brad mentioned there. It's not great to see a black flag mixed with the checkered flag. We want to see a clean finish. And I don't know if they would. We'd have to talk to Josh, and he's probably in timeout now. But I'm wondering, semi-intentional to throw it in there, or was he just trying to give maybe Matt a little love tap to throw him off the track? But he came in hammering him.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell, and being this close and everybody trying to win themselves a race here at Tim's Corner Motorsports to try and get into the All Star Showdown here next month towards the end of June. It's really hard to tell. You're not inside the car, you're not inside that driver's head. You're not inside his psyche, so it's really hard to tell whether that was an intentional thing or if he was just giving it his all, trying to race hard and come home with a better finish than what he had. But I don't know. That's one of those things we'd probably have to ask that driver in the heat of the moment and see if he'd give us an honest answer.
He was kind of pulling the Robbie Gordon at Montreal in 2007. He was doing burnout, although he didn't win the race. And we now have Tim in here. Tim, did you have your shots? Have you kind of cooled down a little bit?
We're getting there. That was rough. Every league, every series, it doesn't matter if it's real or virtual, has issues, has bad nights, has bad races. So this one was a bad night. It started off with some stuff in the heat. We had some intentional wrecking going on in the heat. We took care of that. I see that driver is still in chat, blazing off, so he will not be welcome anytime soon. There's also a couple of other drivers that are voicing their opinion in chat, and they will not be racing tomorrow night at Phoenix. I can guarantee you that. We're shortening the field tomorrow night. We're running a 22 car main. We saw a 60-lap green flag run tonight once we got down to about 22, 23 cars. So I think I'm looking forward to that tomorrow night. I want to thank Pat Healy for coming on board. I'm going to take a couple of deep breaths, and we got to send invites out for tomorrow night at Phoenix. Field might be a little shorter than the 40 that we had, but we'll go from there. Everybody has bad nights. Feel bad for Matt Barkhouse. We had some issues on some restarts tonight. It's just you know, when something happens, the bottom falls out and everything seems to happen right back to back to back. It seemed to be one of those nights. Congratulations, though, to Brad Eddy. Was involved in that late race issue on the restart, came back, won the race. He's in the All Star Showcase. That the dates on your screen are tentative, subject to change without notice. But the All Star Showcase will definitely be happening. We may jiggle around a couple of those at the start because we may need a longer break by the sounds of it. But tomorrow night, here, Vidane TV, we're running Phoenix. That's a fun combination, Dylan. Had some laps in it. You're drafting a little bit. You're a little higher speed. It's a fun car to drive. So hopefully these guys can put on a show. I know some of the Eastbound drivers got to put on a show a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of nights ago, actually. So yeah, that should be fun. I want to thank Paul Strickland Jr., Showtime, and I need about 6 shots of rum after this one, and take us home, get us out of here.
Well, we'll have a couple cold ones. Thank you very much, Tim, for everything you do, and I want to thank Healy as well, sponsoring the race tonight, helping you out in race control. I see Brent Roy also lending a hand too, so that's great. Paul, a lot of fun. I want to thank Mike James as well. I know Mike had some microphone issues, and he'll be with you tomorrow with Smokin' Joe Chisholm here on Vidane TV and Tim's Corner Motors. It was another fun race. I mean, it got wild towards the end for sure. Certainly not a boring race towards the end, but yeah. Paul, any other Vidane TV races you got coming up tomorrow besides the TCM deal?
Oh, just 1 or 2, about 50,000. We got a jam-packed schedule coming up here in the next month and a half. Light weekend this weekend, though. It's a 3-day weekend here in the States for Memorial Day. It's kind of a time to, we just eased up on some of the restrictions for COVID-19 here in Connecticut, and it's a good opportunity for everybody to kind of spend some time with friends and family. So we're going to take a little bit of a light schedule. We're going to be here with Tim's Corner Motorsports tomorrow night at Phoenix, as we made mention. But the graphic on your screen is actually incorrect. We're taking Sunday, Monday off, doing the family thing. Going to grill some burgers and some steaks and have a couple of daddy sodas. I heard the blender going downstairs earlier, so I think we might be getting some margaritas in a big boy glass here momentarily. So that'll be pretty cool. So Tuesday night, we're actually going to be shifting things around just a little bit. We got the new Smyrna World E-Series is going to be Tuesday night rather than Wednesday night. And Wednesday, we're going to be running with the Maritime League. Ricky Arbo has hooked up with us here at Vidane TV to run those guys on Wednesday night. That's going to be a late one. They're starting at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. I believe that's 9 o'clock Atlantic, if I'm not mistaken. And then Thursday night, it's going to be the second race in the New England-Pennsylvania Shift IROC Series. Man, oh man, we watched super late models this past Thursday. Last night, check that, at Daytona International Speedway. What a show. Some fantastic drafting. Really good show for those guys. And you saw the graphic on your screen earlier. Tim's Corner Motorsports rejoining us here for a couple of fistfuls of dates here in June. And we made the post on our Facebook a couple days ago. There's 30 days in the month of June. Vidane TV's got live action in your face. Currently, 21 of those days. Still a couple of dates available for the month of June. So we would like to take a couple of days off in June, but you know what? If you want to get your league broadcasts, definitely shoot us a DM, either on YouTube or Facebook. And as always, make sure you do all the social media stuff, all that good stuff. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, hey, NASCAR's kind of doing the no fans thing, but they got a cool thing going on at Vidane TV. And that was actually something I saw this past week with the new Smyrna crowd. Lots and lots of pictures of people with the Vidane TV broadcast on their laptop, and the NASCAR race somewhere off in the background on the TV in the living room. So that was pretty cool. Kind of tugged on the heartstrings just a little bit. But I think at this point we are all done. It's very hot in Nova Scotia, up in Canada. It's very warm here in Connecticut. I could use a nice cold one. So I'm going to sign off here for Brent Roy, for Pit Reporter Pat, Tim Terry, Tim's Corner Motorsports, Mike James in here for the first part of the race. Got to get him a microphone sponsor here, it seems like. And for my buddy Dylan Langille, I am Showtime Paul Strickland Jr. for Vidane TV. Thank you guys so much for coming out. We hope this broadcast made it to you in good health. But you know what? If it didn't, we hope you get well really soon, because things are getting kind of crazy out there. But thanks so much for coming out. We will catch you guys on the flip side. And as always, we are going to do it live. Thanks for coming out. We'll see you tomorrow night at Phoenix International Speedway.